Vampire War for the Second City is a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition actual play podcast presented by DM Fiat, with I, Dale, as storyteller. Please be advised that this podcast contains descriptions of gore, depravity, addiction, coercion, and other adult themes. This is not D&D. This is a game where we play monsters of the night who do monstrous things. They're all around you. Welcome back, everyone. Here it is. The culmination of everything that has happened so far. It's time to take down Father Patrick, that persistent thorn in your side, that ever-present puppet master who has subtly influenced every detail of your unlives thus far. This is The Ball Drops, Part 3 of Auld, Sanguine. Let's get straight into it. It is half an hour till midnight. You stand on the edge of the plaza outside Star Theatre in Yarraville, leaning against Vincent's Chad car as Hope unfolds her Kawasaki and thumbs through her phone, trying to scrounge up any details she can about the location you're to go to and try to corroborate them with Desmond's intel. Hope, off screen, you had the idea of looking up Google Maps to see if you can get a glimpse of what the location looks like before having to actually go there. And, as a public location, as an industrial park in the middle of a very major city, it's very easy to find this information. It takes only a few seconds to type in the address and drop the little icon from Street View down into the road, and you get a bird's eye view of the entire industrial block. It's a big rectangular lot surrounded by what looks to be a big thick wire fence. There's a series of buildings contained within and a central road that runs through the entire industrial estate. You quickly earmark Warehouse 18, where the meeting with Duke is supposed to take place. You notice that it seems to have a skylight, something that none of the other buildings seem to have. Aside from warehouses, there are two other buildings of note. There's a single entrance into the lot out onto the surrounding streets, and this leads to what is marked as an admin building. The very back of the lot, there's a small structure that resembles some sort of corrugated iron shed erected next to some stacked shipping crates. And you're not entirely certain, after all, this is just a view of the lot, but it's possible this may be some sort of utility shack, and if there is a generator on site to handle on-site electricity, this is likely where it would be.
Alright. So, I beckon the others over into coterie huddle, include Duke, and show the screen. Okay, this is what I'm thinking. We get there. We park on the side that's least likely to have cameras. We try to meet up with the Setites. Duke should go and use his animals to scout Warehouse 18. There's got to be rats or something around.
Duke nods and he says,
expecting you.
He says, you'd be surprised, man. Rats, mice, I can talk to other things too, no problem.
Sweet. I was hoping you'd say that. Alright, so while you're doing this, we need to secure the admin building to make sure that we can turn off cameras on site and maybe remote power down the generator, I don't know. Also want to make sure there's nobody there to call the cops or fire or whatever. Depending on what the Setites send, we might be able to send them to do this, I don't know. But I'm thinking you'd be a good match if we got to do it, Vincent. You can lie like a mother and you've got the dominate going.
I can.
Alright. The plan is once the admin's secured, and if we go and take care of the generator, and I mean, if we can't turn it off inside, we can always, shoot it with machine guns or something. Or, I don't know. You know.
Yeah, the loud approach.
Yeah.
Try to keep it quiet where possible.
Yeah, I don't know. We might get lucky and be able to break some of the cables. But once it's dark, Duke goes to the entrance of Warehouse 18 and basically does the wires come out and play thing.
Drawing out whoever's expecting him.
Yeah, and the rest of us, the skylight looks awful tempting.
It does, but according to the glimpse of the site that you're staring at, the skylight is right at the very front of the building, meaning that while it is an alternate means of entry, it's most likely going to cause you to just drop down in front of the entrance anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
That said, it's not the main entrance, so it may give you the element of surprise.
Yeah, we might find a fire escape. The animal scouting will determine how we enter. That's what I'm thinking.
So...
Anyway, got anything to add? Anything to point out?
Yeah, coterie, have at it.
Sounds pretty good to me. Just let's definitely avoid getting any mortal presence. So yeah, no noise where possible.
Once we get inside, there's going to be noise, but if we do it quick...
Yeah, I'd rather not have to add on to the things my superiors question me about.
So it's worth pointing out that you are all aware that it's New Year's Eve, and so you all have the assumption that if things do go bad and somebody ends up calling the authorities, it's very likely the response will be pretty delayed. You know, they'll be tied up in the city, keeping order as the clock counts down and everyone's letting off fireworks and partying, and they're not really going to have the manpower to just spare, sending a bunch of people to a random industrial park.
And for God's sakes, the opposition set up claymores, okay?
Yeah.
Claymores.
Compelling point.
All right.
Yeah, that's a factor you have to consider. So, looking at the satellite photo, Hope, you realise there are two possible places you might want to assemble your team. The first is on the side of the industrial estate that faces the street. This is the side with the entrance, which means it is the most likely side to be watched by cameras. There is a sporting oval across the street, and on a holiday like this, at this time of night, a sporting oval is pretty much guaranteed to be completely deserted. It might make a perfect place to meet up and plan without anyone seeing you. Otherwise, the industrial estate itself seems to be surrounded by seemingly endless urban decay. Factories, warehouses, car repair garages, and the like. Probably there'll be a place to meet in amongst those, but you run the slightly higher risk that someone might see you.
Yeah. I'm thinking the sporting oval because it's closer to Warehouse 18, so if we park our cars there, all we got to worry about is getting over a fence or through it.
Yeah, good idea.
That's
So-
great.
Before you set out, is there anything you'd like to do? Any last minute preparations? Any contacts you'd like to tap? Any other veins of intel you think might be worth checking out?
Can we just take stock of inventory real quick? So what do we have in terms of weaponry?
I have a Smith & Wesson firearm, just like a semi-automatic pistol. I have a stake launcher. I think Hope and I both have SMGs with incendiary rounds.
Incendiary and regular, yeah.
Yes.
Jeez.
Anyone else?
No.
Duke shrugs and he says, "Hey man, I'm a gangrel. I wouldn't be worthy of the title if I carried a gun around, or even a knife for that matter."
Fair
Here's
enough.
the weapon. Okay.
Ribbons, yeah.
Until it is
Naturally, our mage is going to be well catered for.
I'm impressed you got that. You did that reference. That's all pretty awesome, man. All right.
Sylvia?
Mm.
Just going to go with your abilities.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't seem to have failed her.
Yeah, not the best with
It's not
guns.
reliable.
So, yeah.
That's fine.
And Derek's got the Wuju and the Shankery, so...
All goes well, you hope. You might be able to actually tie this up with a minimum of having to actually get your hands dirty. You hope.
Would be nice.
Yeah.
I currently have I currently have 2 superficial damage, which I would like to
Yep, go ahead. Rouse.
fail again.
Hungry, a good thing you fed.
One day I'll get them.
Oh, I'll also heal one of my. Also a fail. Yay.
Hungry. Well, hopefully that's not going to come back to bite you.
I'm gonna keep rolling for that until last moment.
Well,
So if you-
let's head to the Oval.
Yeah, well, if you feel you do need more weaponry, I believe Hope is in contact with gun runners, but, you know, if you guys aren't trained, it's not really going to be much use.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about potential utility. Smoke, flashbangs might be hard to run into, but
Could have him courier a care parcel over there.
Yeah, if you
Got a
think...
grenade
Cool.
grab basket.
Are EMP grenades a real
Yeah,
thing?
give us a
or
small
are they made
explode.
up?
Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, are EMP grenades a real thing or are they made up?
EMP grenades are, well,
Okay.
let's say they're real in the world of darkness.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Just that, yeah. that line of wait, it's in a video game. That doesn't mean it's real.
Yeah, but
All right. Yeah. I'll tag the gun runner and what was it? Smoke and tear gas. You thinking?
Be very useful.
Yeah, we don't breathe. At least one guy in there does.
so, Hope, as you
That's
pull
a great
out,
distraction.
as you close out of the satellite map and head into your contacts, scroll down and find your gun runner's name. I would like you to please go ahead and roll for me a charisma plus streetwise check.
Anarch status, since I believe he's an anarch gun.
Yes, anarch status.
All right. Charisma plus streetwise. 5 dice. I might get lucky. Yeah. If I get unlucky, he's out partying. I think I'm at 2 hunger. Yeah, that sounds about right. 2 successes.
2 successes. So, you press your finger on his name, and the phone begins to ring, and he answers almost immediately. And he calls out, "Hey, Hope, my girl, what's up?" And
Hey! Oh, we've got a hell of a party we're going to, and I can't say too many details.
tell me all about it, he says. "Everyone's partying tonight, but I get the feeling yours is gonna have a bit more bang."
Yeah, you got any of those surplus Croatian smoke and CS gas?
"That I do," he says. "Look, I was kind of saving them for a big occasion, but I got the feeling you're celebrating something big tonight regardless, so let's
Yeah,
say..."
you could say that. It wouldn't be the right party without him.
He says, "I was about to send out my couriers on their last rounds for the year, catch up with some of my regular customers. So I'll bundle up some of the goods, and you just tell me where you want them, and I'll make sure they're there when you need them."
All right. Yeah, I might as well send him out to the sports oval.
Port Melbourne Secondary. Nice. Secluded. Good place to plan. Damn good place to plan, he says. "And I have a feeling I know what you're planning." He says, "All right, I'm going to tell my courier to leave them in a duffel bag at the base of one of the trees on the perimeter of the oval. Let's hope you get to it before any passing mortals do."
Yeah, as long as I got you here, let me ask you a question about some old Vietnam shit. Claymores, man, they're usually tripwires, yeah? Nobody making any newfangled detonators for those suckers?
He goes, "Not that I'm aware of." He says, "Well, tripwires can work. You can rig them up so that someone trips the booby trap, thing goes off. But the main way people use them is they'll have somebody watching from the distance. They might even have, say, a motion detector placed next to the claymore. It goes off, and the operator knows someone is in proximity, and they manually detonate."
Right, pull the string. I forgot about that. Been too long since I've seen Platoon. All right. Thanks, man. I owe you one.
He says, "Right on."
Put her on my tab. I'll throw in a New Year's bonus.
You hang up,
Need to hear
and
some real-world experience.
you hang up, and you now have a duffel bag full of party goods waiting for you at the sporting oval, assuming some passing mortal doesn't find it first. But,
That's why we're driving.
You give your contact more credit than that.
Yeah.
So, as you fold up your Kawasaki, place it in the boot of the Chad car, and then wedge into the back seat next to Derek and Duke, Sylvia slides into the passenger side next to Vincent, and Vincent turns the key in the ignition, and the engine roars to life, and the turbo kicks in, and the car roars away from the plaza. out into the industrial wasteland of the western suburbs and very quickly getting onto the M1 that leads into the CBD and Port Melbourne. As the night lights turn into a blur moving past and the skyline of Melbourne looms ahead, calm, almost peaceful. How do you feel?
Neither calm nor peaceful, to say the least.
Hopes get a Zen thing going where, okay, this is simple. We survive this or we don't. We'll worry about Elysium after that.
Sylvia, knowing that this may be your final confrontation with your sire, your chance to finally reclaim your destiny. How do you feel?
I'm deathly silent to hide the bundle of nerves that I currently am, but also a touch of excitement, I think.
Yeah, you could feel... Well, you think you feel your heart beating, million beats per second, your nerves primed. None of this biology works in your body, of course, anymore, but you remember what it was like to be nervous, and your mind has a way of playing tricks on you, and you almost feel alive again as the car speeds towards the destination and everyone sits there in apprehensive silence.
For the record, the signal to bug out is Rice Krispies.
Rice Krispies.
You hear that? Rice Krispies. If you hear that, run back to the car on GTFO.
Yeah.
Hope I don't get peckish. Sylvia, I had hoped to say this in private, but after meeting the Baroness, you planning on following through on her suggestion?
Question to the storyteller real quick.
Yep.
Was the thing the Baron did, was it actually a command that I have to follow, or is it just an actual suggestion?
No, it wasn't a command you have to follow. She didn't dominate you, but she did use presence on you, and so you feel a sense of camaraderie and respect for her, meaning you're more likely to want to actually do what she says. But now that you're no longer in the Baron's presence, some of that, regal atmosphere, that awestruck, commanding presence that she exuded seems to have faded away, and you realise that her words didn't actually hold any power, and it's entirely up to you whether you want to actually follow up on them.
Well, I won't lie, I'm considering it, but what would you do if you were in my position, Vincent?
Flattered you would ask. Look, I know this is coming from a picky eater, but I don't think that you want that inside you. I don't really know how this all works. This is all kind of new to me, but
it could be a way
put it
of
frankly,
getting rid of
he's
him.
slime. Get rid of him. Kill him. Do it painfully. That's another reason that I would recommend not drinking him, is because he deserves to suffer. But
Yeah, well,
those are my
seems
2
like
cents on the matter.
it seems like a bit of a waste, don't you think?
Can you waste trash?
Well, if it's trash that can help you move up in the world. I'm not sure yet. I'm just considering all options, So,
Okay, well, you know where I stand.
Spoken like a true cam.
I guess I don't really know how it works. How would it help you move up in the world?
oh shit, do I even know how it works?
You have a vague idea in your head about, dragging him into Elysium and going, look, he did something wrong and I've brought him in, so by default that wins me some respect, right?
Do I know
In
anything
regards
about
to-
diablerie? Yeah.
You don't, well, if you have a cult, you may roll it.
Is
Nope, okay.
the Baroness was specifically suggesting diablerie?
Yes, but she didn't specifically say how to do it.
Okay.
My sage, my Mala, pretty much told me if you drink someone to a vampire to the last drop and keep on drinking, then that's diablerie. You pretty much swallow their soul and get more powerful, but I don't know, man. Destroying a soul? That's...
Well, like,
Look,
that's
man, I
insane.
don't-
Trash, right?
You know me, I don't give a fuck about that. Do what you need to move up and move along in the world, deal with your own shit, but do you want that inside you?
If it can help me move up in the world, then yes.
The other thing she told me was this was a huge no-no among the Camarilla. So,
Yeah.
if the Baroness can squint and fart and detect Voldery, I'm pretty sure that somebody in the Camarilla can let a couple farts fly and detect that. So, I mean, it's risk versus a reward.
Well, Sylvia, I want you to go ahead and roll for me intelligence and etiquette.
Okay. Total failure.
Total failure, yeah. The question has you entirely stumped. You know that supposedly committing diablerie on him will move you up in the world in the sense that it'll give you a considerable boost of power, or so you've heard. But when Hope brings up the point that it might be easily detectable and it's a big no-go in the Camarilla, you can't think of anything to counter that with.
I mean, it's
But
a
it's simply, I haven't heard anyone in the cam speak explicitly about it ever. I've heard whisperings, but nobody addresses it.
Duke
taboo topics.
Duke wraps his fingers on the upholstery and he says, look, Prince Squiz is all about blood hunts and coming down with the full force of the law, so I've heard. And I guess you guys are all still fresh enough that you wouldn't even know what a blood hunt is, but, well, during a blood hunt, the hunted is essentially free game, or so I've heard. Now, if it were me in that situation, and I was actually, if I actually cared what some cam thinks of me, and I had to explain myself, I'd say, hey, you were gonna blood hunt the guy anyway, and so the end result's the same, right?
Somehow I have
thanks.
trouble believing that would fly.
Yeah. Well-
See, to me, it's pretty clever on Baron's part. I mean, this is kind of recruiting. If you don't do it, well, she loses nothing, and if you do it, that's more incentive to hang out with the anarchs, who are less likely to call you on it.
Valid point.
So if you want to go join the anarch side, I mean, if you don't, I mean, it's risk versus reward. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
I mean, the point is, Sylvia, every time you've been to Elysium, it's because you've been forced to be there. And for the most part, you prefer to keep to your own devices. If you were to do this, it would simply be a matter of never turning up at Elysium again. Does that particularly bother you?
Okay, you know what? Let's just not think about it. All our plans end up somehow failing in the end, so let's just go in there, see what happens, and, spur of the moment, something might happen. Who knows? Okay? Let's just chill out, relax.
Okay.
as Vincent
That's scary.
slams on the brakes and turns the car onto the off-ramp, descending down into Port Melbourne. Duke just silently looks out the window and he says, "So this Second Inquisition, they're definitely real, right? It's not some shit that Squiz made up, a boogeyman to control us masses."
They're 100% real, man. And they got X-Files tech.
Right. So then that means that the rumours I've heard about Squizzy having a child who's deep into this SI stuff would also be true, right?
That is true.
He says, He says, "Look, well, obviously, if it were me, I wouldn't trust a Cam as far as I could throw him, and being a gangrel and all, I could throw him a pretty fair distance, if you know what I mean. But you guys still have a reputation over there, and I'm just thinking whether it would be worth giving this guy a call and seeing if he knows anything about this Michael Gardner who's supposedly waiting for me."
That's not a bad idea, man. What do you guys think? Worth the risk?
Fuck it, who cares at this point?
Yeah.
It's too late to stop us either way. All right. You want to do
So
the
that
call or
brings
shall
one.
I, Vincent?
Yeah, alright. You can deal with this.
Okay.
Yeah. Vincent,
anyone
you're
else?
still entrenched enough in the Camarilla that you think, like, just calling up the prince's child with no warning on a night like this when he's probably deep in Elysium would be a bad look. So you leave it to
Yeah.
Hope.
I'd rather not draw attention right now.
I'll do it. I don't mind.
Hope, you flick through the very depths of your phone's memory trying to find the number that you were given for Martin months and months and months ago.
I am going to turn my GPS off.
Yeah, probably a wise idea. You flick off the location services and then you find it buried somewhere in the notes app. The number you took down but never really planned to actually do anything with, but it is Martin's number. Preparing yourself, you dial it, and there's no dial tone. There's a click, and almost immediately the call is answered. The voice immediately says, "Martin Langley, how are we tonight, Hope, and Vincent, and the rest?"
Martin. Hey, we're dealing with an emergency masquerade breach situation. I don't have much time to talk. There's a name involved, Michael Gardner.
He says, "Well, that would explain why you haven't come to Elysium, and Squizzy's getting on tenterhooks by the second, so yeah, if you've got a good reason to be out there working behind the prince's back, I'll assist in any capacity." He says, "Michael Gardner, yeah, I know the guy. You heading after him?"
Yep.
He says, "Alright, here's what you need to know." Clears his throat and launches into reciting a dossier that's apparently very familiar to him. He says, "Right, Michael Gardner, got him on Task Force Harker's records as Michaelius Gardner. Changed his name legally 4 years ago from Michael to Michaelius after the Archangel. You know, biblical shit. He's aged 42, white man, single, no children or living relatives. His brother died in what was ruled an animal attack 6 years ago. It was an attack by one of our kind, and it's actually what put Michael on the path for potential recruitment into Task Force Harker. It didn't take him long to realize that his brother died in a vampire attack, although at the time he didn't really understand what he was up against. He was an army chaplain in the engineer corps, did a tour overseas, Afghanistan, I believe, but was given a dishonorable discharge due to his alcoholism. Oh, and you'll find this interesting, he says. Just ran him through some of my old algorithms, and the guy's bank account is nearly empty. He made a massive withdrawal several weeks ago, and, most of it appears to be funneled into very dubious accounts linked to arms dealers and military surplus dealers.
Yeah, this could be painful.
He says, now, I have his recruitment notes here. Says that he was mainly earmarked due to the fact that his crusade against whatever killed his brother caused him to intensify his faith. He's a Catholic priest, don't know if I mentioned that. And, well, not sure if you guys know this, but it's a well-known fact among the powers that be that people who have strong enough faith do have some unexplainable power over blank bodies.
Wait. You saying he could blast us with holy stuff?
According to the notes, he says he's been earmarked here to be what they refer to as a holy man, which in Harker terms means his goal is essentially to blast you with holy energy. And, well, look, when I was alive, I hardly believed in it. Now that I am a blank body, well, I'm not sure what to think, but
yeah,
people in charge of Task Force Harker, they don't fuck around. Person who's in charge knows a lot of things, and every choice they make, every recruit they bring on board is done for a specific reason.
All right. Do you know any weaknesses or limitations of that faith-based holy stuff?
He says, no, that's the thing. He says, according to operating doctrine, the reason these holy men are so highly valued as potential recruits is that supposedly there's nothing vampires can do to protect themselves.
For the record, I've had him on speakerphone, but no output from. But I'll click the mute temporarily. Anyone else have any questions for the nice guy?
Do you believe this shit? The power of Christ compels you?
I'm not afraid of moving water. I believe anything at this point.
Yeah,
that's
yeah, Derek, you're probably the one likeliest to believe that there's a genuine threat here from divine intervention.
all right. Do we have any more questions for him?
Sounds comprehensive. Potential points of leverage.
Deke. Any potential points of leverage? Maybe. What was his name?
Says, okay, so his brother Jeffrey died 6 years ago. From what I can tell, based on the intel available to me, sounds like he was the victim of... he says. He says, so... Well... I'm reading here that Jeffrey was part of a groomsmen's party, and they were having a bachelor's weekend up in Brisbane. Gambling, clubbing, all the degeneracy you get up to. And, well, reading between the lines here, it almost seems as if the brother was the victim of what we would recognize as your very textbook Sabbat initiation.
Shovelhead?
Most likely, says Martin.
Fuck, alright. That'll piss him off.
Hope twitches a bit.
He says, last bit of intel I've got. Michael's cell is apparently 3 agents strong, him included. Other 2 guys you don't need to worry about too much. Pretty standard agents. They're tagged here as firearms support. One of them does have expertise as a sniper. So, be on the lookout. Keep an eye on any rooftops.
Yeah. Alright. Thanks for the intel.
He says, shall I tell Prince Squizzy to expect some good news later?
Tell him...
Please do, but temper it.
Tell him that there should be good news, but if there's not, we're probably dead.
Martin just laughs. He says, okay, alright.
Do assure him we're acting in his best interests, and as he would wish, but we currently are under the pressure.
I shall pass that along. And then as he goes to end the call, in the background you hear a voice that sounds suspiciously like the Seneschal Specs just saying, good. This is what I was hoping would come to pass. And then there's a click.
Do you guys hear that?
All according to Keikaku, I bet.
Fuck's sake, dude.
Yeah.
You lower your phone, Hope, just in time for the car to round the corner and park parallel to the sporting oval. The engine dies, and suddenly all is silent. The air is so thick that you could drape it around yourself. The summer humidity clings to your skin and almost makes you feel as if you're sweating with apprehension. The industrial park seems eerily quiet as you drive past the entrance and the car comes to a stop. There's a tall iron fence with a barred gate at the front across a concrete road that rolls downhill to a variety of squat brick buildings. On the fence is a large sign that says, "Warning, electrified." Each building has a large number painted on the side, each corresponding to a laminated map hanging next to the main gate. Alongside the road that leads into the complex, there are patches of brown, dead grass. From the grass spouts tall lampposts blazing yellow in the humid night and barely illuminating the road. More lamps hang over the doors of the various buildings, though most are unlit. Mounted on each lamppost and on most of the building corners, you make out a CCTV camera. Each camera has a red light burning on it. You would have been caught on at least one of these, at least the one attached to the entrance gate as you drove past. Interestingly, you don't see a single person milling around beyond the fence, and no cars parked in front of any of the buildings. It looks like everyone's gone home for the holidays.
Yep. Well, go ahead and park the car. Will you, Vincent?
Yeah, you got it.
I'll get out and I'll hit the number the arms dealer uses to call the burner phone that he'll have left in the duffel bag.
Yep. You vault
Listen
over
for
the
the-
waist-high fence that surrounds the sporting oval and, dialing the number, Hope, you hear the sound of a polyphonic ringtone in the distance. A theme song from a late 90s sitcom.
He's not using Hit Me Baby One More Time anymore, huh?
You follow the sound to its source, and there, sure enough, at the base of a thick oak tree on the very edge of the sporting oval, almost invisible in the shade, you see a black duffel bag. You pick it up, unzip it, and take a quick look inside and find everything you asked for. There's enough grenades here, more than enough. There's at least 10, 11, 12 by your count. Roughly half of them smoke grenades according to their labels. The rest a mixture of flashbangs and EMP.
He cares. All right. Everybody take one of each.
I've walked over at this point.
Wait, we do
Yeah.
have EMP?
Yeah.
What?
You quickly count them out. 6 smoke grenades, 3 flashbangs, and 3 EMP.
I know tech, so I'm taking a smoke and an EMP.
I'll just take a couple smoke.
All right, 2 smoke for you. 1 smoke apiece for the rest of you, and I recommend each of the rest of you take a flashbang. I'll pocket the extra EMPs.
Duke shrugs, holds up his hand. He says, "No offense. I trust my hands. I don't trust stuff that explodes."
All right. I'll think for a minute and hand Vincent one of the EMPs.
Maybe I would put this to use.
You know tech. Okay. I know tech. Actually, these might be good on the generator.
You're divvying up the grenades, standing there in the shadow of this huge tree on the edge of this empty sporting oval. It looks like at this time of night, just a big expanse of grey lifelessness, and suddenly you all register the feeling of being watched.
I'd like to, check.
I hold up a
That-
hand. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my Sense the Beast.
Sense the beast, go ahead.
2 successes.
I might just do a wits awareness roll, or...
Yeah, you can go ahead, do a wits awareness roll.
And then I'm going to say, can I get a praise set?
1 success.
So, Vincent, feeling the hairs on the back of your neck peak, you look from left to right, but you see nobody. Hope evidently does, however. Hope immediately holds out a hand and says, "Can I get a praise set?" As Hope, you register the presence of 2 kindred in the vicinity. One of them responds, a cold, smooth voice, simply saying, "Praise be to him." And then the 2 Setites step out of their obfuscation and out into the shadows where you can all see them. Here, in the gloom under the tree, you can barely make out their facial features and their bright white suits are cast in a deep grey, but you can just make out the Egyptian unks around their necks, subtly glimmering in the moonlight.
Hope, do you know everyone?
We actually know a friend of a friend. These guys work with Dusty.
Right then.
Dusty, you don't know. He's one of the Meat Locker crew.
Connections
Okay.
abound.
Yep. All right. Here's what we need. Turn to the Setites, and I'll explain the plan briefly. We're thinking you guys will be best suited at getting into the admin building and letting us know if there's anyone there we need to subdue, or if there's any cameras to be managed from there. I'm thinking there are. Think you guys can do that?
"All good," says the Setite in front of you. Says, "But we did some scouting before you turned up. There's only
man, great.
only one entrance, the one you drove past. Just over there," he points to the gate in front of the admin building. He says, "Rest of the lot's pretty secure. Only other way in would be to vault the fence, and, You've read the sign, haven't you?
Yep.
Now,
So we'll
we
have-
did notice alarm systems, he says, raising a finger. Black boxes attached to the fences at various strategic points along the lot. Watchdog security. That means there's going to be motion detectors, and any attempt to vault the fence, even if you survive getting fried to a crisp, it's probably going to set off an alarm. Same goes for ramming down the gate. So the two Sedites shrug. We didn't want to make any attempts at infiltration until you arrived. See what ideas you have before we default to standard operating procedure.
Well, didn't have too many ideas, but now I have EMP grenades. So I'm thinking we roll one over by the entrance, the admin entrance, set it off. That should blitz the cameras around it and let you be able to give us enough time to rush into the building. Once we secure that, we should be able to mess with the cameras and security on site.
Works for us,
Make sure-
says the
And
Sedite
make
and
sure that nobody in
shrugs.
there can call in more police support. So, everyone agreed? Let's start with that.
Everyone agreed?
Make it work.
Alright, says the Sedite. Well, let's get to it then. You follow the Sedites out, cross the edge of the sporting oval, vault over the fence, and cross the abandoned street to the fence and the gate in front of the industrial park. As you approach the electrified gate, you expect to perhaps hear the hum of electricity, but you're surprised that you hear nothing. The only sounds are the distant roars of automobiles driving on the motorway, the occasional bark of a dog, normal sounds of an industrial sector of the city that's been completely abandoned due to the holiday.
Cameras on the gate still got lights, though.
Yep, cameras on the gate, still blinking their red lights, and as you step out towards the gate, you see one of the cameras turn on its and swivel on its post to follow you as you walk up to the gate.
Yeah. I'll twist the timer, drop it, and run.
Yep. Before you do that, what's your plan for the gate itself?
Well, is it a full gate?
The gate's, yeah, it's a big chain link gate. It looks like it's rigged up to something electronically. You see a couple of mechanisms attached to the gate, giving you the impression that if you're buzzed in from the admin building, the gate will slide open. There's a big black box up on the gate next to the sign that says warning electrified fence. There's a label on it in red, big bold red impact font that reads Watchdog Security. And you recognize this to be a form of motion detector.
Alright.
Next to this, on the very edge of the gate, you see what you hope recognize as some sort of magnetic lock, and there's a keypad next to it, allowing employees to enter their codes to get access to the lot without having to call the admin building.
Alright, new wrinkle. If we fry the electronics, we can't open the gate. And the only way to get past the gate is to open it.
Yeah, or climb it.
Is that what this is looking at? Oh, shit. Yeah, we could climb it.
It's quite tall. You're looking at, a fence that's at least 10 feet tall. It wouldn't be easy to climb, but it's possible, though out of the corner of your eye you see Sylvia just shrugging, and you know that she'd just be able to leap over it with no problem.
Yeah.
I'd rather not tear my suit.
Yeah, what the hell. Go with the original plan. Pry the security over the fence, admin.
Right. Go ahead and make a wits technology roll, please.
Hey, I'm okay at that. Let me double check, make sure I got the dice. I think I do. Yeah, okay. Hopefully I can do this without knocking out my phone. 2 successes.
Standing on the edge of the road, you survey the area and determine the best spot to lob an EMP grenade, one that will give the widest range of effect and catch as many devices as possible, and you prime the explosive and roll it along the ground. It rests in the ditch in front of the gate, and then there's a loud pop, and you see streams of aluminum foil and shrapnel take to the air. The CCTV camera immediately begins to swivel wildly on its post, the red light blinking on and off as the camera begins to throw up errors. The 2 Setites immediately run forwards, and in a single display of superhuman prowess, the 2 of them bend their knees and then take a soaring leap, ascending into the air and leaping over the gate in a single bound. When they reach the other side, they activate their obfuscation and disappear seemingly into thin air.
You send us the scary boys.
Oh, just before this, is it okay if I could just have rolled to heal some superficial?
Yeah, if you want.
Cool, it succeeded then. So that's down to 1 now.
I start climbing.
Yep, alright. Everyone content to climb?
Yeah, I can climb. Would that be Dex Athletics?
Yeah, it's going to be Dex Athletics if you'd like to climb. Sylvia, I assume you just want to leap over?
Yep, I'll wait until the others get across to see if anyone needs any help.
Everyone needs help. Good idea. So,
Successes.
yep. Derek and Hope.
I need help. Total failure.
Alright.
Strength athletics.
Dex Athletics or Strength Athletics. You can do either.
Oh, thank God.
Glad I got some athletics.
Damn, I
I'm
was hoping I
handy
could
already.
Princess carry you.
Oh my
Please.
God. Iconic.
Hope is oddly heavier than she appears.
Right. Oh, okay. Must be all the bone rearrangement you're doing.
it
doing
adds
some
more. It
modification.
adds more
Yeah,
muscle
yeah.
density than you see.
Yeah, I'm almost complete with something. Thank you.
Okay. No worries.
So,
Adult Tamesia has 306 burns.
Derek, how many successes did you get?
2 successes.
2.
Yeah,
So,
hollowing
Vincent,
them out is gonna suck.
Derek, Hope, I don't know if you're calling the signs bluff or you're just stupid, but as you place your hands on the wire, you're relieved to find that the fence appears to not actually be electrified. Perhaps the sign was placed there simply to deter thieves. Vincent and
whatever.
Derek hoist themselves over the fence with minimal effort and drop down onto the other side. Hope, you get about halfway up and then you lose your footing and slip and tumble back down onto the asphalt, taking a point of superficial damage.
Oh,
Ow.
hopefully I would have caught it.
You want to?
if
Oh,
you
you want to? When you see Hope drop, you leap forwards, catch her, and
Yeah.
all right.
Vincent
So,
stifles a laugh.
I'd like you in that case, Sylvia, to please make a Dex plus Protean roll.
Protean?
Sorry,
Potent?
Potence. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Sombra do not have Protean.
They can have Protean.
1 success.
1 success, that's enough.
Good.
So as soon as you see Hope fumble, you rush forwards, and as she begins to drop off the fence, you summon your vampiric powers. The blood surges through your body and you leap up, taking to the air. You grab Hope by the arm and awkwardly, painfully pull her along behind you as you sail over the fence. Land deftly on your feet on the other side while Hope crumples in a heap before you.
After we get start then.
Thank you. I need more. I need to lift more. That's all there is to it.
It's all right, buddy.
Once I get my bones hollowed, it won't be as much of an issue. Okay.
Wait, once you what?
What? I'll tell you later. All right.
Pick me out, man.
Admin building.
You head towards the admin building directly in front of you. It appears to be empty. There are no cars parked, no lights on, and the Sedites have already gained entrance, as evidenced by the door lying open. So you step... Yep, sorry, Hope.
I'll say as we go, it occurs to me the Second Inquisition might have emptied this out already. That's why the fence is off, because they didn't want to make it too hard for Duke to get to him.
Good point.
Well, let's slide in, see what we can do.
As you make your way towards the building, you notice...
Can we keep an eye out for snipers? Sorry.
Yeah,
the rooftops.
that's a good idea. Please make a wits awareness check as you move through the lot.
I'm going to make a sense the beast. It'll detect hostile emotions.
Yes.
So...
still one success.
Success.
3.
So, Sylvia, perhaps paranoid, you scan the rooftops of the nearby buildings with your eye line. It's dark, and it would be very easy for someone to hide lying in wait there, but you catch no signs of movement. This does little to make you feel better. Hope, you follow Sylvia's gaze, and you detect no signs of movement, though you concede it's easily possible someone could be hiding there. As you make your way towards the admin building, you all look around, scanning the area around you, trying to take stock of the industrial estate, and you see at least 10 CCTV cameras scattered at various points throughout the industrial park. They each have a sturdy metal housing to keep people from throwing rocks and breaking them, but they're all currently... most of them, the ones closest to you, are currently swiveling wildly like the one at the entrance, caught in the EMP. The others are still operating and keeping a careful watch on the main road through the estate and the big expanses of concrete between the warehouses. But hopefully they won't be a problem for too much longer. You step across the threshold of the admin building and inside find a reception lobby. It's completely empty. There's nothing of note here. So you move on, stepping past the counter and through the door behind it, leading into a hallway that has 2 more rooms at the very end, one on the left and one on the right. The one on the left appears to be some sort of break room. There's a fridge humming away inside, a coffee maker, fold-out plastic table and chairs, and on the right, a security room. You see the 2 Setites in here, hunched over some sort of control panel, one of them scrolling through a computer. And as you enter, they stop what they're doing, turn, and look at you. One of them shrugs. He says, wasn't anyone in here, no one to pacify. We're dealing with security now, but... well, look, technology's not our strong suit. The Setite gestures towards the control panel, a bank of monitors, each displaying a looping video feed from the CCTV cameras. And the other Setite steps away from the computer. He says, I found the password on a sticky note on the wall over there, but I got no idea how to turn this shit off, man.
All right. No worries. You guys did great. I'll see what I can do here. And I'm going to go ahead and boost I'm going to guess this is intelligence or wits.
Yeah, intelligence technology if you're going to try to turn off the security systems.
I don't get hungrier. All right.
Hey.
That's a good start. I have big brain energy technology, so that's 6.
So you pull out the sliding office chair, it slides across the linoleum, and then you sit down into it. You sit down and it creaks as you sink into it. And then you start scrolling through the various video feeds on the screen, and eventually you find a way to turn off most of the CCTV cameras. The only one you can't turn off appears to be the one at the entrance, which is not linked to this security hub, but rather appears to control a direct feed to the local police department. That's fine, you shrug, the EMP's taken care of that. So you turn off all the others, and then you're left with the bank of monitors before you, all being completely blank, save for the option to replay saved footage.
We'll go ahead and purge saved footage.
Purge all saved footage? Yep.
Hang on. Before I do that, any footage from earlier in the day or the night of the Second Inquisition coming in?
Go ahead and make a wits investigation check for me.
Wits? Okay.
Or intelligence.
Thank you. Yep. Only as one success. They probably did it all sneaky, not like, or were smart enough to wipe it.
You don't have a lot of time to view the footage in detail, so you just skim it, trying to find anything that might be notable. There's only one thing that you're able to find, and that's you're only able to find one thing skimming the footage. A ping from about an hour ago. It shows 3 men, one of them wearing the unmistakable garb of a Catholic priest, the other 2 dressed in special ops gear, black Kevlar vests, catsuits, night vision goggles loaded to bear, gaining entry to the industrial park through the main gate. They punch in codes at the keypad. The gate slides open to admit the 3 of them. They each briskly make their way to Warehouse 18, not even bothering to stop by the admin building on the way. They reach the loading entrance of Warehouse 18, and the Catholic priest and one of the spooks enters the building. The remaining spook takes just enough time to drag a stack of wooden pallets from a nearby alleyway to the front of the loading bay. He stacks them up as if building a barricade, and then you see him remove a canvas bag from around his shoulder. He flips open the brim of the bag, reaches inside, and leans over, setting something up in amongst the wooden pallets. You can't see what it is, but you have a pretty good idea. When this is done, he nods, satisfied with his handiwork, and then he steps inside the building.
Okay. The mooks are all in the building. The Stoda Claymore there. I can't find a way to shut down the generator from here. Can I confirm that the generator building is the generator building?
You pull up a map of the industrial estate on the computer, and according to the map, the corrugated iron structure you saw in the satellite footage is a utility shed. It contains what is listed as the main generator, but the computer also specifies that several of the warehouses, not all of them, but several, and it doesn't specify which ones, also have backup generators of their own due to the special nature of the items stored within.
All right. Here's the plan, I tell the Setites. We're gonna go crunk up that generator, then we're going to try and breach the warehouse and deal with things. We know he set up claymore mines inside. They'll probably be triggered by pull tabs. By pull strings or tripwires. We know there's at least 3 of them. We know one of them has something called true faith. I have no clue what that entails except bad things to us. How do you guys know what the best used here?
The Setites look at each other, and they seem to contemplate what you're saying, and then one of them shrugs and says, "The only true faith you need is faith in Set. Look, you got 2 options here. Turning off the generator, getting in there unseen, getting it done. We can handle that, but if you'd rather have raw muscle when you get into the building itself, we're happy to stand by, head to the utility shack together, and do this all as one big family. It's up to you."
I'm thinking the one big family option is the better option. What do you guys think? I turn to the coterie.
I probably would recommend staying together. I feel like I'm just get kicked off. Otherwise,
Yeah, probably staying together. I feel like splitting up just makes us easier to pick off.
All right.
frankly, we're way out of my wheelhouse now.
Yeah, this is Ocean's 11 type shit. For like a Call of Duty level that I never managed to get through. Okay. All right, let's head to the generator. We'll go along the southern side of the lot, so we go around the building.
Lovely. So, yep, go around the side. Yeah. Try to remain out of eyesight of anyone who might be watching.
Yes.
So, Hope, as you stand up and click away from the security hub, the last bit of footage on the screen catches your attention. It's from about 20 minutes after the 3 men arrive on the lot. A 4th figure appears, stepping towards the gate. And yeah, you got it. The footage begins to twist and distort, and the closer the figure gets towards the entrance of the lot, the scratchier and grainier the quality of the footage becomes. When Father Patrick stands right before the gate and begins to scale it, wisely not even attempting to work the keypad, you notice that the quality of the footage is pretty much a dead ringer for that captured by Duke's sire.
I'll thumb drive this and the Second Inquisition entry, and then I'll wipe everything.
Copy over the pertinent bits of footage, and then click delete on everything else. The window pops up, deleting, and as it counts down, you remove the thumb drive and gesture for the others to follow you. So you lead them out of the admin building out into the humid summer night. So as you make your way to the utility shack, if you'd like to remain out of sight by hugging the southern side of the lot, moving behind the row of warehouses there, I would like everybody to please make wits stealth checks, and you get a bonus dice because you are, making your way through the lot by moving along the southern portion of it and using the warehouses there as cover.
I'm not sure how you get a messy critical on a stealth check, but I did.
I got 3 successes.
3 successes.
Messy crit.
Yeah.
That'll be
5
interesting.
success.
5 successes. We'll get to the messy crit in a moment.
Oh dear.
You guys should know in ahead of time that I have no points in stealth, so
Oh,
do
good.
bear that in mind with plans.
Yep.
Oh, it's all good.
It's okay.
It's all good.
It's a group pass. So,
Once we pop the generator, we're gonna have to go in hard and fast anyway, so...
so Hope seems to be leading the group, and Hope's moving with this sense of purpose. It's unlike anything you've seen from her. Normally quiet, introspective, perhaps a little timid. She seems to be moving and carrying herself like a special operator. Moving with military precision, leading you around the corner of Warehouse 2 nearby, and leading you along the southernmost fence, ushering you quickly between patches of shadow as you cover the distance between the admin building and the utility shack. After a few minutes, you reach the westernmost edge of the lot. Hope leads you around the corner of Warehouse 6 and points. You can see the corrugated iron shed and the stack of shipping containers nearby. A distance of about 20 feet, empty concrete separates you and separates Warehouse 6 and your destination. Hope says nothing. She just presses onwards, scurrying like a cat between patches of darkness, using pieces of debris, wheelie bins, parked trucks as cover. And then, Hope, you step out of the shadows, past the shipping containers, towards the corrugated iron shed. And as you approach it, your senses are suddenly on high alert. You catch a flicker of movement out of the corner of your right eye. You whirl around and see a human figure shuffling out of the darkness. Your beast immediately roars to life. Take no risks, it barks, and so you rush forwards. And everyone watches as Hope, in a single movement of sinew and bone, dispatches this unfortunate person. You hear the sound, you hear someone gasp in pain, and then a sickening squelch. And then suddenly Hope stands in front of the utility shed with the decapitated body of a homeless man lying at her feet.
Oh no. Oh no, oh shit, oh no, 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 oh.
Your beast, satisfied, quietens itself. And Hope, you realise what you've just done. You look down at the corpse in front of you, blood already pooling around this grotesque handiwork you have created. You were expecting a sniper or a spook to jump out at you, and you've neatly removed the head of a homeless man who was just shuffling out of his shelter in the shade of one of the shipping containers to investigate these strange people.
Fuck, dude.
I'd like you to add a stain, please, Hope.
Yeah, that's a stain. I dropped the head.
You drop the head, lands on the ground, splashing in the blood.
Hope.
If anyone's really thirsty, go for it. I can't.
I was just gonna say,
And I turn away.
Sylvia just shrugs, and as you lean over and begin to drink from this unfortunate man, Sylvia, there's just a hint of guilt and remorse in the back of your conscience. Everyone else watches until Sylvia stands up, wipes the blood off her lip. You may reduce your hunger to 1, Sylvia.
Right.
Excuse me. The Setites step out of the shadows, catching up with you all. They survey the corpse lying at Hope's feet. Sylvia still wiping the last dregs of blood off her lips. One of the Setites smiles and says, On one hand, I admire the efficiency. On the other hand, what a mess.
Waste not, want not.
Alright. Generator door. Open.
Reach open.
Utility shed open.
Reach forward, grab hold of the wired door, and of course you find it to be locked. Not through any sophisticated means. There's a cheap iron padlock hanging from the door handle.
I look over at the super strong boys. Either you got a good grip?
Duke shrugs. He steps forwards, clenches his fist, and lets out a yell. As he slams his fist on the padlock, it immediately snaps, clatters to the ground, and the wire door swings open. The utility shed is taken up almost entirely by the generator, a big old atomic era contraption, flecks of rust along its base and edges. It's chugging loudly, spitting out plumes of grey smoke here and there.
Well, I've got big brain energy. Do I see a way to turn it off?
Yeah, go ahead, make an intelligence technology check.
See if I get another messy crit here. That'll be funny. 2 successes.
You approach the roaring monstrosity of atomic engineering, and as everyone else watches, you begin to examine every detail. You read the old faded label, Power Master 3000. You see the receptacle where fuel is added, and according to the meter next to it, there's enough gasoline within to keep it chugging for at least another 12 hours. And then, popping open the maintenance cover on the back side, you find what you're looking for, an override switch that turns the entire thing off. You grab the rusty lever, and with a grunt of physical exertion, slide it down. The entire machine groans, rattles as if it's a eldritch creature yawning in its sleep. And then it stops chugging. The plumes of smoke dissipate, and instantly all of the faint yellow lamps throughout the industrial estate flicker and die.
We need to move. Now.
Yeah. One of the Setites shrugs in agreement. Well, if they didn't know we were there, if they didn't know we were here, they do now. Let's move.
Duke, you've been scouting the warehouse with animalism like we asked, right?
He nods. He says, made contact with a couple of friendly mice when we gained entrance. Loading bay's the only way in. There's a fire escape on the back, but it's covered in all sorts of debris, dumpsters, crates, and the like. They've made sure it's not usable.
All right. We'll blow the explosives at the pile and then head in.
Duke nods, and then he sets off at a sprint. He clenches his fists, looks at the sky, and roars, and then gets down on all fours, digging his claws into the dirt and concrete and running ahead like some sort of dog man bounding into the darkness. You've got to move fast. I'd like the rest of you to make Dex athletics checks, please. If you have celerity, you may add those dots.
Now is a good time to boost dexterity and not get hungrier. Okay, good deal.
I got a critical 6.
Ooh.
Dex that.
Glad I boosted athletics.
2 success.
3 successes.
What was it again? Dex Athletics, was it?
Yes, Dex athletics.
Cool, I will boost Dex.
Good idea anyway.
That's a failure, goddamn.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's count up all the successes. Hope, how many?
3.
3. Vincent, how many?
6 for the critical.
6, nice. So that's 9. Sylvia, how many?
2.
2. Well, you required 10, so you've made it. Derek seems to be lagging behind, and as you look over your shoulder to glance at him, you see him fumbling through the pockets of his trench coat, pulling out bits of paper and various bits of metal and occult goods. He's clearly preparing some of his blood sorcery, and has his mind focused on that. But he catches up eventually as you make your way across the industrial estate and meet Duke in front of Building 18. Just as you saw in the security footage, there are huge stacks of wooden pallets in front of the large delivery door.
All right. I roll one of my smoke grenades in front of it to set off the smoke, and we go around and out through the skylight.
Yep. So you're going to throw a smoke grenade at the pallets?
Yes.
Alright. And then everyone's going to go to the skylight, or is that a bluff?
I believe that's what we're doing, is going through the skylight, yeah.
Yep. Sylvia can very easily get up there, but the warehouse itself is made of a mixture of concrete and steel. The walls are very smooth, and there's very little in the way of handholds to climb. Climbing up to the roof is going to be quite difficult, but it's not impossible.
So a drop.
All right.
Could probably carry one other person up there.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep, Sylvia could probably carry someone.
But that would be splitting the party.
Until we get through. Yeah. We can go through the skylight and open the door for him on the other side.
Sure.
That could work, yeah.
Vincent, you or me, we've got the guns.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, me, I can see in the dark. All right, let's go.
All right, so
Eyes of the beast, sense the beast up.
Since the beast is up, you don't sense anything yet, but you sense someone's waiting for you just on the other side of this wall. You repeat the orders. You're going to throw the smoke grenade, and then Sylvia's going to take someone with her up to the skylight.
Well, we do that. Duke, throw something heavy against the door. Hopefully we'll fool them into triggering the trap early.
Duke nods.
Once we yell clear, racing to get in. Okay, ready? Let's go.
You grab one of the smoke grenades, prime it, and toss it towards the pallets. It lands in amongst the stacks of wood, and then there's a loud pop, pff, and black smoke begins to billow out. Go, 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 you shout. Sylvia begins to bend her knees, looking up to the roof like a cat preparing to leap up on top of a fence. Who do you take with you, Sylvia?
Is that right? I'm grabbing Derek.
Yep, grabbing Derek. Alright?
That's me.
Derek.
Okay.
You wrap.
Sorry,
That
wait.
was me.
Yep.
Okay, I grab Hope.
You grab
I lost
Hope?
track of- what's that?
Hope rushes towards Sylvia as she kneels. Sylvia reaches out, grabs Hope by the hand, and then leaps straight up in the air. Sylvia, hold out your right hand and grab the edge of the roof, nearly missing it, breathing a sigh of relief. And then you pull yourself and Hope up over the edge and creep towards the skylight. The glass skylight is closed, sealed, and everything beneath is pitch black.
Okay. Eyes of the beast.
Eyes of the beast active. As you approach the skylight, Hope, you peer beyond the glass. You see that the inside of the warehouse seems to be mainly comprised of rows upon rows of empty metal shelving. You can make out the shadow of some hulking piece of machinery just at the edge of your vision, probably the crane that Dahlia described. You see no signs of movement, but the shelving would be a great source of cover for someone waiting in ambush.
Yep. Let's go down and through.
You step forwards, look for the handle of the skylight, grab it, and slides the glass open. And then, just as you do this, down below, Derek and Vincent, you watch as Duke looks around and then grabs a metal trash can from one of the nearby, from at the base of one of the nearby buildings, hoists it up in both hands, and as he hurls it towards the loading bay, and it hits the door with a loud bang and then clatters and rolls along the wooden pallets. Is there anything you'd like to do?
Honestly, just staying alert for now. I feel like if we were doing anything in particular, it might be a little problem. Just wait out for
Yep.
I mean, at least I'll just wait out for the door to open.
And Derek?
Yeah, I guess I'm just waiting for the rest of the plan to go through.
Actually,
Alright.
I try to roll to heal some superficial.
Yeah, go ahead.
How many do you have?
Two.
Two.
And I just
Oh,
have
okay.
shit of failed rolls.
Well, when you fail, you do
Oh,
still
yeah.
heal it. You just also get hungrier.
Yeah.
Do I? Okay.
Yeah, so you should be
Yeah.
fine now.
That's one-
Yeah, you're healed, man. You did two. You healed, miss. You did two of those
The
already.
trash can hits the top of the pallets. The lid bursts off, scattering food wrappers and plastic bags along the stack of pallets and the concrete. And as the heavy bin sinks into the wood, you hear a loud click. You see a copper wire snap under the pressure of the shifting pallets, and then bang! Derek
The ball
and Vincent, you may go ahead and make Dex athletics checks.
It hurt to hold my tongue and not say die for cover. It hurt to hold my tongue.
Oh god, one success.
One success. Oof. Derek,
My dex is still boosted, wouldn't it?
yeah, still boosted.
Still boosted.
Yes, cool. Thank God. Ooh. Also only one success.
Oh, great.
Boom! The Claymore mine explodes. A plume of flame shoots out from the stack of pallets, spraying you with sparks and pieces of shrapnel. The Claymore mine is an 8 dice ranged attack against anyone within 10 feet. It rolled 7 successes.
Oh.
So, Derek and Vincent, you each take 3 points of superficial damage. Luckily, it's halved.
Okay, round it out.
Yep, 3 points of superficial damage. Derek, Derek as well. Duke manages to leap out of the way just in time, hitting the dirt as clouds of shrapnel surge through the air above him. One of the Setites isn't able to get away in time, and he also takes 3 points of superficial damage. The other Setite got a bestial failure, and as soon as he sees the flames surging from the explosion, his beast takes hold. He opens his mouth and lets out a terrified animal scream and freezes in place. The shrapnel shreds him to pieces. He takes 6 points of aggravated damage, and his entire body combusts before your eyes, reducing him to ash in a matter of seconds.
I look at Sylvia. Wow, they're really selling it.
You know, I don't think that's okay.
Then it gets worse.
Oh, shit.
The aftermath of the explosion. The wooden pallets are on fire. Tiny flames on the very edges at first, but they quickly grow larger and larger until they engulf the entire wooden structure. The huge orange flame roars to life in front of you all, and I would like you all to roll for Terror Frenzy.
Are Sylvia and I out of this?
Sylvia and Hope, you're fine. So it's just going to be Derek and Vincent.
What's the roll for that again?
So it's willpower plus a third of your humanity.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot of smoke coming from over there as well.
I'm sure. They're really selling it.
Humanity rounded up or down?
Round down.
Okay.
Make it harder for you.
3 successes.
3 successes.
So if I have 1 will damage, does that mean I minus a die, or do I still get my full will die?
That's a die you can't use.
Cool. So it's 3. So it'd be, what are we, 7 humanity, so it'd be 2 die?
Yep.
Or am I getting it wrong?
Yeah, 2 die will.
Oh. So it'd be 5 successes on a critical.
Lovely.
Okay.
Vincent and Derek, you exchange glances with each other, then stare back at the fire, and even though your beast roars for you to get away, you maintain your resolve. You stand firm. As does Duke. The same cannot be said of the remaining Setite. He opens his mouth, lets out a pitiful yelp and a hiss, and then turns and runs as fast as he can in the opposite direction. As soon as he reaches the nearest patch of darkness, he activates his obfuscate.
Yeah.
And you have a feeling that he's not coming back.
Who invited these guys?
They were mooks anyway. Okay.
Right, Sylvia and Hope. As you hear this unfold, Sylvia, can you see in the dark? I don't think you have the No, you have the cloud of shadows, don't you? You don't have the one that lets you see in the dark.
Yeah.
So, Sylvia, you see nothing but pitch blackness, but Hope, as you hear the landmine explode and the carnage unfold beneath you, you see movement down in the warehouse. 2 men, the 2 spooks, rushing out from underneath the giant crane and taking positions amongst the metal shelving, their weapons raised, pointed towards the front entrance, ready to engage whoever enters.
All right.
Do we jump?
I'm going to draw their fire. I say taking aim with the submachine gun. You jump down once I start shooting, okay?
And just get rid of them, right?
You need to open the door so the others can get in.
Okay.
You're strong, right? Yeah?
Right, yeah. And as I say that, I'm gonna activate prowess.
Yeah, definitely good.
Alright.
Success on the rouse check.
Lovely.
Okay. Ready?
Yep,
On 3. Go on 2. 1, 2.
I'm jumping.
Hope wrenches open the skylight, pulls out her gun, and begins to fire. Hope, are you firing at anyone in particular, or just randomly to draw their fire?
I'll choose one of the spooks.
Yep. So I'd like you to make a Dex firearms check.
Yep. If I hit them all, the better, but either way. So boot dexterity is already boosted. Firearms is only a 1. Yeah, what you gonna do? Messy critical. 5 successes.
Oh, God.
Ooh, nice. 5 successes. You raise your gun as Sylvia rushes forwards and drops down into the gap. Point your gun at the spook nearest you. He's almost directly below you, and begin to fire. Your bullets strike the metal shelving at first, ricocheting, setting up sparks. The spook shouts, "They're coming from above! Above!" And the two of them immediately raise their guns, firing up at you. The one you're not firing at fires at you. He only rolls 1 success though, as you're pretty covered with the height advantage. His bullets pound against the edge of the skylight. The second one raises his gun, ready to fire at you, and then your beast roars, "Kill him!" Brook no insults, and for a moment time seems to slow down. You align the sights of your gun with the little blinking light on his set of night vision goggles between both of his eyes, and fire. Bang! One of your bullets slides neatly into his skull and he just drops.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Sylvia,
Dumb.
you land on the concrete floor below with a thump. The inside of the warehouse is shrouded in darkness. None of the lights are on, although you can hear the faint whine of machinery somewhere.
And you're probably getting some strobe light from the muzzle
Yeah.
flashes.
Yeah, I imagine.
In the small flashes of muzzle fire, you can see that the warehouse itself is empty of packages or crates. Instead, cobwebs cling to rows upon rows of empty shelves. Near the large shipping doors, you see thick rubber conveyor belts coated in dust and dirt. Above them lurks an ancient mechanical crane, dripping with rusty chains and cables. Against one wall, you see a set of metal stairs that lead up to a glassed-in office that overlooks the floor. What are you going to do, Sylvia?
Looking away from that, running straight for the door to try and hold it open.
Running straight for the door to try to wrench it open and get everyone else in. Good idea. Okay. So, neither of the two goons are firing at you, and so far, Michael Gardner and Father Patrick haven't made their presence known. So, Sylvia, you wait for one of those brief snippets of gunfire to align yourself, and then point yourself in the direction of the door and just run for it, activating your prowess. You rush towards the door, and in the darkness you can't locate the handle or catch, so you summon your raw strength, dig your fingernails into the metal and try to just wrench the door open. Go ahead and make a strength athletics check, and you may add your potence as you've activated prowess.
Okay. 2 successes.
After a few seconds, you feel the thick metal door give, and then you groan, "Ugh!" As you slide it open, a plume of flame splashes in through the tiny gap you create. I need you to roll for Terror Frenzy, please.
Oh, good. Sorry, what was that again?
So that's going to be willpower plus a third of your humanity rounded down.
Okay. 2 successes.
2 successes. At first, you feel the instinct to leap back, to turn and run, but you realise your friends are out there and they're in trouble, so you grit your teeth and continue pulling at the door, sliding it open. Vincent, Duke, and Derek all charge in past the flame into the warehouse, standing beside you. Bang, 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 bang. The gunfire continues. Hope, are you now firing at the other spook?
I am indeed, but I'm also taking cover too. Because
Yes.
I heard the door, and I know that if I don't get them, they will.
Yes. So, in that
So what's the
case...
situation with the guards now?
So, well, you guys aren't fully aware of what's happening. As you've just stepped inside, the warehouse is completely dark, occasionally punctuated by brief flashes of light from the gunfire. You see Sylvia standing in front of you, and by a normal leap of logic, that means that it must be Hope, who's currently engaged in a firefight with the guards. You take a few seconds to realise that there seems to be only one person returning fire.
Okay. First of all, I'm activating resilience like I should have earlier. Daunt is free, right?
Daunt is free, yes.
Not as free.
Daunt is going on, and I'm going to yell to get the attention of the other guy, and I'm going to... Do I have like a clear line of sight on him?
No, not in this darkness, though you could attempt to, find where he's hiding by following the muzzle flash.
Okay, for now I'm not going to yell then. He's got night vision, okay.
You know what screws up night vision? Flashbangs.
It does.
This is true, I don't know if I want to use it quite just yet.
That's true.
Derek, do you have anything that could help here?
Maybe, but not really if I can't see him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't particularly feel like running towards the muzzle flash.
Yeah, it's a little dicey. Hey, why not just turn on my phone's torch?
Well, I mean, you can if you want.
Let's do. Yeah, let's just fucking use a light.
Yeah. So you fumble
Yeah,
for your
legit
fumble
shit.
for your
I turn on a
phone,
light and-
pull it out of your dinner jacket, turn on the flashlight. It's a tiny light. It's not very helpful, but it does allow you to catch sight of the man you're looking for. He's crouched behind one of the metal shelves, taking cover behind an empty wooden crate. He's got his gun pointed to the skylight and is peeling off rounds towards Hope.
Alright. Derek, I could use your help here. How far are we from him?
So you're about 20, 30 feet from him. Quite a distance. You could shout to him, but if you want to do anything to him up close, you're going to have to run up there, which is, where Hope's going to help you because she's drawing the fire, but it's still risky.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to try and... I can see him now, so I'm going to try and run... Try and hopefully go on the outskirts of his vision to get closer to him. Hope's distracting him enough.
Yep, she's going to run towards him, trying to not be directly in front of him. Vincent, are you going to do anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and close the distance, but I'm gonna do it from a different.
Yep, so you and Derek are gonna, split up, try to flank him, running along different aisles of the shelving and coming out at the end on either side of him.
I have the SMG in my right hand, and I'm trying to do a Leon Kennedy
Yep.
torch thing, but with the phone.
Sylvia, anything you're going to do?
I'll keep pace with them, I guess.
Yep, alright. So, first of all, Hope, go ahead, make a Dex firearms check.
Alright.
And subtract 1 dice, because you're also actively trying to find cover while things wind down a bit.
3 successes.
3 successes. Bang, 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 bang! You point your gun at him. Kneeling down, pressing under the lip of the skylight, you peel off a couple of rounds as you see your friends begin to close the gap between the door and this man. He raises his gun, and you notice that, unlike the other guy, he's not firing bursts, he's not firing an automatic weapon. Instead, he holds an assault shotgun in his hand. He raises it directly up towards you, and bang! Fires, and that is 5 successes from him.
Oh.
His bullet hits you, and as the bullet hits your skin, it explodes, sending singeing embers up your clothing. You take 2 points of aggravated damage.
Oh, I scream.
Shit.
Yeah, you just scream in rage, in pain and terror. You don't catch on fire, so there's no need for a terror frenzy, but suddenly your beast is bellowing as your senses are overwhelmed with pain. Engage Dragon's Breath! Shouts the man. I would like Derek, Hope, and Sylvia to make Dex athletics checks, please.
Derek, Hope, and Sylvia,
Derek, Vincent, and Sylvia, sorry.
1 success.
1 success.
1 success.
Yay!
And Derek?
Shit.
Join us. 1 success.
Not quite. 5 successes.
5 successes, nice.
Derek's borrowing up in here.
As you hear Hope scream and duck beneath... As you hear Hope scream and duck behind the rim of the skylight, she's no longer drawing the spook's attention. Hearing your footsteps, he whirls around, pointing his gun in your direction, trying to get a bead on any of you as you split up, take different sides of the metal shelving and try to flank him, running towards him. He picks Vincent and he fires. Bang! Rolling 2 successes. The Dragon's Breath round shreds the front of Vincent's dinner jacket and deals 1 point of aggravated damage.
Great.
But Sylvia and Derek...
Resilience?
I don't think it works on aggravated damage.
It
Sure.
takes a higher level fortitude to do anything.
Yeah,
like that.
unfortunately.
That's fine.
Yeah. But Sylvia and Derek round the corner, stepping out from between the shelves and flanking the man.
I also got 1 success.
Yeah, I know, but he wasn't aiming at you.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
sorry.
Sylvia and Derek, what do you do? The man sees you step out, points his shotgun, waving it between either of you, and he says, "Give up, blank bodies, or I fire! We have the superior protocols! We want the one
Before
called
he
Duke!"
finishes speaking, I'm gonna instantly rush up and try and go for his throat with Touch of Oblivion.
Ooh, nice,
Ooh.
nice.
Nice.
So go ahead, make a rouse check, please.
Success, thankfully.
Ooh, nice. No stain. Okay. So, let me just... I always never have the La Sombra book open. Alright, so... You're giving him a touch of oblivion, yeah. So you rush forwards, channeling the power of the darkness through your vitae. Derek and Vincent, you see Sylvia's skin begin to take on a blackish hue as tendrils of pure darkness begin to surge across the surface of her body as she rushes forwards, holding out her hands and attempting to touch the spook, infecting him with her darkness. Go ahead and make a strength... go ahead and please make a strength oblivion check, please. A strength brawl, and you may add oblivion to it.
Okay.
Sorry, I
1 second.
had to read.
It's all good.
He's getting
4 successes?
4 successes. He has a dice pool of 5 on this, and gets 2 successes.
Okay.
Poor guy.
I'm aiming for his throat, hopefully.
Yep,
And he takes 2 aggravated
he
damage.
does.
And he's crippled around his throat, I guess.
You leap forwards and wrap your fingers around his throat. You cut him off mid-sentence. We're after the one called Duke. The rest of you can... He begins to scream as he loses his voice, as the skin around his throat welts and turns red, and he gasps for breath. He takes 2 points of aggravated damage and then falls to the ground, struggling to breathe. And it's clear that he's going to expire within minutes.
Oh, okay. I was going to say with prowess, that would probably add 2 more damage.
Yeah, 2 more damage.
That's right.
2 more aggravated damage, which is enough to, basically finish him off. He falls on the ground, starts rolling around, gasping for breath. And it's clear he's going to expire. As he rolls around, he fires his gun wildly. Bang, 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 bang! I need Derek and Sylvia to make Dex athletics checks, please.
1 success.
Oh.
And Derek,
What's that one?
Dex athletics.
Athletics, only 2 successes.
2 successes, it's okay. With his penalty dice, he gets 0 successes. He fires the gun 3 more times. Bang, bang, bang! And then it clicks as the assault shotgun's magazine runs out. Everything is silent, save for Hope's terrified screaming up on the roof, and the spook rolling around on the floor, coughing, spluttering, as he slowly succumbs to suffocation.
As soon as that's done, I'm gonna leap back onto the roof next to Hope and see if she's alright.
Yep. Sylvia bends her knees and with a shout leaps up back through the skylight, leaving Vincent and Derek down in the warehouse. You clamber out of the skylight, Sylvia, and see Hope cowering just beyond the lip of it. There are 2 very large red welts and singe marks on her torso.
That doesn't look like fun. Are you okay?
No, we need to keep going. Bring me down. And
Are you sure? Okay.
And I jump into her arms, and while she arranges things, I'm going to, shaking hands, switch out the regular ammo for the incendiary.
Yes. Hope wraps her arm around your waist and then leaps back down through the skylight, landing before the others. For the rest of you, this all seems to take less than a couple of seconds with how fast Sylvia's supernatural leaps are. Yep.
Search the bodies. These motherfuckers like this always carry tack lights.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm moving towards the corpse.
As you bark the order, as Vincent begins to move towards the corpses, suddenly you hear a heavy switch being thrown somewhere in the darkness, and all of the lights pop on. From somewhere in the maze of shelving, you hear the hum of an ancient speaker come to life. It's Father Patrick's voice. He says, "I only want Duke. Leave him, and the rest of you can go. Do not interfere in Camarilla business." Then you hear footsteps on a metallic surface coming from above. You look up, and there, stepping out of the cabin of the crane, you see Michael Gardner, or his true name, the Angel of Death, Michaelius. He steps out onto the arm of the crane, professing a huge wooden crucifix in front of him, and he shouts, "Kneel before the Lord, children of Cain!" He activates his True Faith 5. I need everybody to make a remorse test, please. That is, roll your humanity, the number of unstained dots you have.
Does that mean there's a 5-star truth, a 5-dot true faith?
Yep, he's got a 5-dot True Faith.
Good God, okay.
I'm
He's a
kneeling.
Christian studies teacher.
I'm kneeling.
I got 3 successes.
3
So what was
successes. So yep, so you're making a remorse test. So roll any unstained humanity dots you have.
Oh,
So, for
wait,
example, if you
I'm
have
saying
7 humanity,
dots?
and
Oh.
7 humanity, you have 3 dots that you can roll, assuming you have no stains. So basically,
I have
roll
stains.
roll any of the dots on your humanity track that aren't filled with something, either a stain or they're just your humanity dots. So most of you should be at 7 humanity. I think Sylvia's at 6, so Sylvia gets 4 to roll.
Yeah.
I got 2
okay.
successes.
2
I got
successes.
nothing.
Nothing.
I
Yep.
think I have the most humanity of the group.
I've only got a 7, man.
Yeah, I've got a 7 as well. Okay.
Yeah.
2 successes?
2 successes. Yep.
Almost a
Nice
critical.
doesn't mean good.
Nice doesn't mean good. Okay. Even if they win, the vampire collapses in helpless self-loathing and disgust, unable to act in anything but their own defense for a number of turns equal to their current stains, to a minimum of 1. So, you're all at least held for 1 round as this voice booms, taking on a greater cadence than you would expect from this man. It seems to speak to your very souls, and as if an elder vampire came down from the heavens, looked you in the eye, and dominated you. You feel your knees bending, your bodies kneeling. Hope, you failed. And so you permanently lose 1 point of resolve
Oh, God.
and
Oh my-
flee in terror frenzy.
Oh, God.
That's not good.
Oh,
That was my good stat, too.
So Hope, you immediately scream in utter terror.
I
Turn.
can't willpower this, can I?
You can willpower this, go ahead.
And I'm going to fucking willpower this?
You should definitely willpower that.
oh my god.
And I fail. Yeah.
You
Gone.
fail, yep. So Hope immediately turns and screams in utter terror and sprints towards the door. Of course, the open door is now currently blocked by a wall of flame from the burning pallets on the other side. And Hope, as you reach the door and see this wall of flame blocking you, your beast screams in primal terror, and you're rooted to the spot, looking between this wall of flame that seems to be almost advancing like a living thing to engulf you. And Michael Gardner up on the crane, his crucifix glowing with bright white, eye-searing energy. A vampire who cannot flee the scene suffers damage as though the symbol were direct sunlight. You take a point of aggravated damage, Hope, and will
Alright.
continue to do so until you were no longer exposed to the symbol.
Well, nice knowing you guys.
The Inquisition. Inquisition's not playing around, guys. So the rest of you are cowering, rooted to the ground, while Hope screams in terror, and the rest of you see scorch marks and nasty red burns spontaneously singe her skin. Father Patrick's voice booms from the speaker again. "Give up Duke, and you may live. You need not make enemies of the Camarilla."
Where is Duke?
Duke is right there with you, kneeling in utter terror on the ground. So you cannot act, but you can talk. You can struggle. You can try to move with willpower. Basically, anything you do that isn't cowering on the floor, you're going to need to roll willpower to do, but you can still do stuff.
Except for me, right?
Except for you, at least until your terror frenzy expires.
Okay.
How far up the ground? Oh, sorry. How far away from us is
Michael? About 30 feet up on the top of the crane standing just outside the cabin. You could leap up there, Hope, if you can somehow will yourself to move in the face of God's terror.
So is it? No, I don't know if I know this or not, but it's like, does it seem like is it like a direct line of sight thing, or is it just?
You can roll occult if you like.
Occult intelligence or?
Intelligence occult, yes.
Shit.
Sylvia, you could also potentially leap and get Harp out of the way a bit better. Or something.
Oh, that's true.
You could also presume that Father Patrick doesn't actually know who's come along with Duke, because presumably he would have directly addressed Sylvia.
That's fair.
True.
So, Derek, how did you do on your roll?
Sorry, I was. Yeah. No, just I was working out my total because I'm still on the effects of cocaine.
Yes, you are. That's right.
Ooh, 4 successes.
4 successes. So you weren't sure whether you truly believed that there was such a thing as true faith. You always dreaded the day you would encounter it, but in preparation of that day, this day, you consumed every piece of lore within the Chantry Library concerning true faith. And in your understanding, he needs to brandish his holy symbol, and you need to see it for the true faith to work. Get rid of that symbol, and Michael is powerless.
Hypothetically, if you just closed your eyes, or like had a blindfold on. No,
Yeah.
Okay. Just curious.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah?
That'll work.
Okay.
You can do that.
That's why I was asking. So I'm going to try and will myself to pull out the smoke grenade I have, and I'm just going to pull the pin on it.
Yep, alright, go ahead.
Well,
Derek, roll willpower.
get it away from you. It will still explode.
So that's just it's 4. So it's just 4 die, isn't it? Because I've got 4 points.
Yep, 4 die, so 4 points, minus any damage you have.
Oh right, so only 3. And these aren't affected by hunger, are they?
No.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, only 1 success.
1 success. You stare up at that crucifix. The radiant energy emanating from it, searing your eyes. You grit your teeth and you will yourself, calling upon any ounce of strength you have. You shut your eyes tight and then fumble in the pocket of your trench coat for the smoke grenade. You pull the pin, and then not knowing where you're throwing it, you just hoist it away from you. Bang! The smoke grenade goes off, black plumes immediately begin to snake around you. The symbol's radiance gleams through the smoke at first, but then, as the smoke gathers, as the grenade hisses, and fills the warehouse, it finally obscures Michael Gardner. The cabin of the crane is invisible, and so is the crucifix. You all feel the intense weight bearing down upon you lift, and in an instant hope, your beast calms.
Okay.
I think how that worked.
So that's real. Fuck. Hope.
Yeah.
Can I, like, see what's going on with her?
Yeah, you look over at Hope and she's just staring, she's just standing in front of the door, the flames to her back, just staring at you, her eyes wide open, but she seems to have regained her composure.
And I go directly to Hunger 5 as I heal an egg.
Hunger 5. Ooh. Well, you can smell the blood on the air, but you can't see it thanks to the smoke, so I'm not going to make you roll for Hunger Frenzy.
Well, I know where there are 2 recently dead bodies, though.
Oh yeah, you do. Go ahead, roll for Hunger Frenzy.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, can you just heal an ag?
No.
1 per night.
Yeah, 1 per night, and it costs 3 rouse checks.
Yeah, I thought you said you did. I thought you
So,
said. Okay,
4
yeah.
successes.
4 successes, yeah. You could smell the fresh blood on the air intermingled with the stench of carbide and gunpowder. But this is not the time. You caution your beast. You know it's been through a lot tonight and you will reward it, but right now you need to be in control of your faculties. You see the others
Why?
silhouetted in the smoke, and what do you do?
I head to the nearest body, the first guy I shot. Actually, no, I'll head to the one that's dying slow because he's still alive.
Yeah, you can hear him gasping for breath even now.
And before I sing my fangs, and I'll say, "Good work, boys. Let's turn them quick like we did Jeffrey."
Yeah.
And I'm trying to goad him into fucking up.
So you sprint into the smoke towards the sounds of the man gasping for breath, and then twisting your voice into the harshest, most masculine, most gravelly, intimidating form you can muster. You say, "Good job, boys! Duke, let's turn him quickly like we did with Jeffrey." Go ahead and make for me a charisma intimidation check.
Catching onto
How
this.
about performance acting?
Yeah, you do performance acting as well.
Alright.
Can I boost this?
Yeah, you can boost this. What would you like to shout
I
out?
figure I'd catch on quickly. I'd be like, haha, I'm surprised you remember that shithead's name.
Ah, okay. So you may
2
add.
successes.
You may add Vincent's presence dice to your roll.
Which is...
I've got 2 dice plus 1 because of Sanguine.
Yep, so
All
3
right.
extra dice.
Which is enough for 4 successes, and you know what? This fucker cost me a permanent willpower, so I'm gonna use willpower
Yeah.
to re-roll
be-
3.
That'd be 2 criticals, though, wouldn't it, across it?
Oh wait, that is 2
Yeah.
criticals.
Yeah.
That's a messy critical across it.
Oh,
So
So-
never mind, I won't use the willpower. So
God,
that's
don't actually turn him.
6 successes, 2 crits.
So the clergy has a dice pool of 7 for this, so he's going to attempt to convince himself that you couldn't possibly know who Jeffrey is, but he got 5 successes. Somewhere above you, beyond the smoke, you hear someone scream, "No! No!" And then you hear the sound of the crucifix being tossed aside, and suddenly muzzle flashes pierce the smoke. You've goaded Michael Gardner. He's tossed aside his holy symbol, and he's just decided to fire his submachine gun wildly into the smoke. You may all make a Dex Athletics check with 1 bonus dice, thanks to the smoke.
Yeah.
4 successes.
I'm going to use the guy. I think messy critical would drive me to use the guy I'm drinking as a human shield.
Yep.
He's armored. Okay, but VR 8. So that's 4 successes.
Also 4 successes.
4 successes. So you all duck for cover, throwing yourselves to the floor. Hope you grab the guy who's gasping for breath, hold him up, and roll down onto the floor, using him like a blanket. You feel the bullets pound into his body. He gasps one more time and ceases to live. Please add a stain.
Yeah, what the hell?
Michael Gardner is screaming as he lets off peals of gunfire with his SMG, not even taking the time to aim, just wildly firing into the smoke. And at this point, Duke shouts, "You want Duke? I'll give you fucking Duke!" And he runs to the crane, grabs hold of it, and starts to hoist himself up the crane towards the cabin. Gardner continues firing off rounds until finally the gunfire stops. He doesn't stop pulling the trigger. You hear him screaming. You hear the click of the empty gun. Duke pulls himself up onto the arm of the crane, and there you see his silhouette just beyond the smoke contort as his arm warps into a gigantic bestial claw. He rushes forwards, and you watch as he tears Michael Gardner to shreds.
Oh shit, okay.
Blood rains down on all of you.
So, question. Would "you gotta rise above the petty stuff" be good enough conviction to not take a stain on this?
Yeah, sure. I'll allow it.
Okay, thank
Oh,
you.
fuck it, right?
He had it coming. He was second Inquisition. And
The-
he shot my friend.
The radio speaker through which Father Patrick has been talking to you suddenly dies. The staticky buzz stops. Patrick did not think things would turn out this way. Duke, standing on top of the crane, roars and he shouts, "Where the fuck are you, Cassius? I'm coming for you!" And then you see him leap off the side of the crane arm, plummeting down towards the manager's office at the back of the warehouse on the balcony overlooking the warehouse floor. "You guys coming?" he shouts.
Have I finished drinking?
Yep, you've finished drinking. You can reduce your hunger to 1, as he was already dead when you began to drink. The bullets.
I'm following right behind him. This is too
Oh
good
yeah.
to miss.
Oh
Yeah. You push.
is thoroughly
You push the
entertaining
corpse of this husk, this thing that attempted to kill you off you, and then start sprinting after Vincent and Duke. Derek, Sylvia, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, I follow. Just gonna follow after, and as I do, I'm just gonna focus on the part of my wrist where the blade comes out, and I'm gonna scorpionate the blood there.
Yes, good
I'm
idea.
also, with Eyes of the Beast, going to scan for tripwires on the way Duke's going.
Much appreciated.
Yeah.
And I get hungrier.
So Eyes of the Beast, go ahead, do that, Hope.
Alright, wits and awareness, I'm guessing.
Yep, go ahead.
I'm full up, so now's a good time to boost wits.
I feel like Vincent's a
Fail.
bit caught up in the excitement of everything
I
that's
don't
going on, and he's sort of throwing
Yeah,
caution
he's just
to the
running.
wind.
We are 7 to 5 successes.
Get rid of the smoke grenade.
As everyone runs ahead of you, including Sylvia, I'm presuming.
Yeah, and sorry. A scene lasts however long. like
Yeah,
an
this
event
is still the
takes
same
to-
scene. So if you've boosted anything, since entering the warehouse, that's still intact.
Okay, I think I'll also activate Arms of Ahriman, since that lasts the scene.
Yes, that's a good
Good
idea.
idea.
Success. Alright.
Success. So, Sylvia watches everyone rushing ahead. She lingers behind just long enough to clench her fists, close her eyes, and the shadows around her begin to distort into murky tentacles. And then she slowly begins to walk after the others, bringing these dark appendages along with her. Hope, as Vincent, Derek, and Duke tear off in front of you, you summon the blood, hone your senses, and your eyes pierce the dark smoke. And there you see it. Right in front of the staircase that leads up to the office, a single copper tripwire.
Everyone stop!
You call out, stop. Duke stops just long enough to take a look down at his feet, realize that the tripwire is there, and then step over it. The moment he does, he looks over his shoulder at you, flashing a smile, and then begins to tear up the stairs.
I'll hop it and follow after.
Yep.
You all reach the top of the stairs behind Duke, and then you burst through the metal door that leads to the manager's office. The office is completely bare, save for a beat-up wooden desk in the center. Standing behind it, whirling around to face you as you burst through the door, is Cassius, Father Patrick. At first, he sneers coldly at Duke, and then as Derek, Hope,
Turning
Vincent,
my phone to record.
and finally Sylvia step in behind him, the look on his face changes. First to one of brief surprise, and then twisting into a mask of disgust and anger, perhaps even betrayal, as he sees Sylvia finally enter the room. Hope, you pull out your phone and begin recording. The video feed on your phone is scratchy, distorted, pixelated. You can just make out Father Patrick's distinctive features, but you realise now why Melanie's recording was such low quality. Patrick takes only a second to compose himself. He raises a hand, then his other hand, perhaps a sign of good faith that he is unarmed. And then, his gaze lingering for just a moment on Sylvia, he says, "You know not what you fight against, child. I am not the enemy. We, the Black Hand, are not the enemy."
I think I have a pretty good idea of what I'm fighting against. And I'm gonna lunge at him.
I shout. We've seen the recordings of you and Palmer. Your treachery has been revealed. Surrender now and we'll stake you. You'll get a trial. Fight will be forced to kill you.
You call this
I'm
out,
not
but then
listening.
Sylvia just roars. She rushes forwards and lunges at him. And are you going for your bare hands, or are you going to use your arms of Ahriman against him?
I'll go for Touch of Oblivion again. I'm just gonna punch him in the face.
Nice. All right.
Oh, there goes
Go
your
ahead,
alibi.
a strength brawl check, please.
Sorry.
It's alright.
It's failed the rouse check.
Yep.
Four successes.
4 successes. Okay. So Father Patrick, seeing you rush towards him, grits his teeth and he's going to rouse the blood. 1 success. That gives him an extra 3 dice to his pool and he doesn't get hungrier. And so now he's going to counter you with his own strength brawl, and that is going to be a dice pool of 8. He gets
Okay, no need to flex.
He gets 7 successes. You lunge towards him, trying your very best to touch him. He snarls. Arrgh! You wrestle, pushing the beaten wooden desk away from you. The two of you fall to the floor. You try your very best to slam the palm of your hand down on his face. He grunts. Arrgh! Arrgh! He pushes you off and then lays the palm of his hand on your arm. He's going to rouse the blood.
Uh-oh.
That's 1 success. He doesn't get hungrier. How many successes did you get, Sylvia, on your strength brawl?
It was 4.
Yeah, 4. So he deals 2 points of aggravated damage to you, touching your right shoulder with his palm. As you recoil, gasping in pain, he kicks you away and then gets up and runs, standing in the corner of the office, his back to the glass window, facing the warehouse floor. He raises his hands once again, narrows his eyes. Sorry?
Do we get actions?
Yep, you can go ahead. What would you like to do? As he
I'd like to...
kicks Sylvia away and begins to run into the corner of the room.
Well, now that I've got a clear shot, my gun's loaded with the good bullets.
Ah, the incendiary rounds. Yeah. Go ahead. Dex firearms.
3 successes, and I'm gonna willpower this. Nothing more, only 3.
As this is going on, I'm just sort of like, Dawn's still active, and I'm just like, Patty, what's the plan here?
Yeah, you're just...
And,
So, and Derek, what are you doing?
I was going to rush in to assist Sylvia, but then I'm like, I noticed Hope, so I'm going to just wait and let Hope do it.
Wait and see what happens. So Duke roars, and half of his arm, still in the shape of a gigantic claw, just begins to run towards Patrick, chasing him. How many successes did you get on your Dex firearms, Hope?
3.
3. Okay, let's see. Patrick's going to go for Dex Athletics. That gives him a dice pool of 6. He gets 4 successes. He ducks as your bullets hit the glass behind him, surging through and hitting the metal shelving in the warehouse below, exploding in like little fireworks as they do. Vincent, I'd like you to go ahead and make a Charisma Intimidate check.
Sure, and I boosted Intimidate earlier. So that's 7 dice. Yep. Oh, you're fucking kidding me! Total failure.
Total failure. Well, I'm still going to roll it against Patrick. So Patrick is going to do a Manipulation, which is 4, plus
I'm gonna use
his...
willpower to reroll
Hey,
that.
go ahead.
1 success!
1 success. So, alright, so Patrick's going to do his Manipulation, which is 4, and his Leadership, Oratory specialty, which gives him an extra 4 dice. So he's got a dice pool of 8. Let's hope he goes really bad. No, 5 successes.
Well, fuck.
So, you take 4 points of superficial willpower damage, Vincent,
Okay.
as Patrick stares you in the face and he smiles. He holds out his hand and he says, "This was never just a mask, you know. I was once upon a time. No, I still am a man of the Lord. Cassius was my middle name. Kieran Cassius O'Donnell. I was born in Dublin in 1891, and I was barely a man when I recognized the Lord's infinite, unconditional love.
What the fuck?
I was there at the Easter uprising. My child." He turns, directs his gaze at Sylvia once more. "I saw my people rise up against the jackboot of tyranny, only to be crushed. All they did is dare to dream, to take control of their own destiny. I thought the Lord had forsaken me then. I nearly discarded my faith entirely. Then, in my darkest hour, the Lord sent him, my sire, who showed me the faces of the devils who rule this world, taught me that all of us, kindred and kind, are but pawns in the games of the ancient damned." What do you do as he begins to monologue?
I'm now, that's all my willpower.
So you're
So I'm
impaired.
sort of- yeah.
On mental and social actions.
Holds out his hands as even Duke falters, caught up in this rhetoric, this
Wait,
display
are we all on this?
of... Sorry?
Are we all rolling this?
Well, no.
just-
I'm just... As he begins to...
Okay.
As he begins to let his rhetoric flow forth, Duke falters for just a moment, and Patrick takes this chance. He holds out a hand and he says, "Surrender, and you will be unharmed."
No, this has pissed me off. I'm firing a round into his chest.
Go ahead. Dex firearms. While you do that, everyone else, what would you guys like to do?
Keep
3
shooting.
successes.
Again, was gonna try and get closer, but everyone keeps shooting at him.
Yeah, 3 successes.
These
You can
successes.
try and make him hungrier, man.
Yeah, you can try to make him hungry if you want, with your if you've got that ritual.
He does. He used it on Spider.
Yeah, he did. That's right. So how many was that, Vincent?
3.
3. How many was that, Hope?
4.
4. Sylvia, what are you doing?
Which arm did he fuck up?
Your right arm.
Yeah, fair enough. Alright, well, luckily I have Arms of Ahriman, so try and grapple him.
Yeah, he's going to go try and grapple him, hold him in place so that the gunfire hits him. And Derek, are you doing anything?
Yeah, I guess I'll try and extinguish Vitae to try and stop his regeneration and all that stuff.
Alright, so melee always goes first. So Arms of Ahriman goes first. So, Sylvia, as you rise to your feet and the shadowy tendrils flutter behind you, extending from your shoulders, I'd like you to make a Wits Oblivion roll, please.
That is 6 successes.
6 successes. Patrick sees them coming and he screws up his face, attempting to rouse his own Arms of Ahriman to fight back, but he's not fast enough. Your tendrils wrap around him, pinning him in place. Dealing, you may choose, would you like to deal damage to him or grapple and hold him in place, adding half of your potence rating as a damage bonus?
I will grapple.
So you'll grapple, and what is your potence?
2.
2.
So 1.
So you deal 1 point of superficial damage as the shadowy tendrils wrap around him, holding him in place, cutting off his impromptu sermon as he screams and begins to struggle. This adds a bonus dice to Vincent and Hope's firearms, bringing them to 4 and 5 successes. I'm going to have Patrick roll to dodge. That's going to be Dex 2 plus his athletics of 4, giving him 5 with a penalty dice, and his 2 successes. Bang, bang, bang! Bang, bang! Your bullets slam into him as he struggles feebly, fruitlessly, and you deal 3 points of superficial damage from Vincent, and 2 points of superficial damage from 3 from Hope, 2 from Vincent, halved.
And mine's
These are
fire.
incendiary
And
rounds.
yours is fire, so that turns
Both
into
of ours.
3 points of aggravated damage.
And mine's
Yeah, we're
fire
both
too.
incendiary.
Yep.
Yeah.
So 5 points of aggravated damage.
Let's
The flame surges up his coat. He screams in pain, but he doesn't go down. Now that he's held in place, Derek, you can get close to him if there's anything you'd like to do.
I was gonna go with my original idea, and since he's now held still, I'm gonna walk up, take out the stake I have, and try and stake him.
Yeah.
nice.
All right. So you're just going to pull out your stake and stake him?
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead, make a strength melee check.
Yes, important. So I'm going to rouse strength first. Oh, success, so I don't get hungrier.
Don't get hungrier, which is always good.
Yes. Do Sylvia's tendrils help at all? Or is it
They
just giving
will
him disadvantage?
impact him. They will impact him.
Cool.
So how many successes did you get?
Oh boy. It's 4 successes.
Ooh, nice. Okay, so Father Patrick's strength is still buffed, so he gets 6 from his base strength plus his extra 3 dice, and then his melee of 4. So he's got a dice pool of 10 on this, with 1 penalty dice bringing it down to 9, and his hunger is currently 2.
Jesus.
He rolls a bestial failure. He roars as you rush towards him, raising the stake. He struggles, and at the last moment, he wrenches free of Sylvia's shadowy tendrils, and he begins to rush towards you, holding out his palm, the dark tendrils of blackness running across his skin. And at the last moment, he roars, and he roars and he screams, "After everything I've done!" And if he had remained committed, he would have been able to resist you, Derek. He would have just been able to press the palm of his hand on your face and disable you. But his beast gets the better of him at the last moment, and he turns, looks towards Sylvia, narrows his eyes, and shouts, "You bitch!" And while he's looking towards Sylvia, distracted for that brief, pivotal moment, that's all you need. You rush forward, slam your stake into his chest, and with a roar of exertion, push it in as far as it'll go. You let go as Patrick's limbs go limp. He drops, and as his skin begins to turn grey, ash-like, he begins to scream. "The Lord never abandoned me. He never abandoned any of us. Our purpose is to save this world, take back our destinies from those who turn their backs on our Father. I've seen what the Camarilla represent. I've suffered and lost from their eternal power struggles. We could have fought back." And then his eyes roll up into the back of his sockets, and he falls backwards, landing with a thud on the floor, completely motionless, in torpor.
I stop recording.
Being that my willpower is completely dead, I feel like I cannot hold any dignity, and I just walk straight up to him and start stomping on his face.
Yeah, just stomping on his face. Each kick makes a dent in his ashen, bloodless face. He makes no response. If he's even aware, there's no indication that he's even aware of what you're doing. Duke steps forwards, holds up his claw, and he says, "Now, unless anyone has any better ideas, I'm gonna decapitate this bastard." He raises the claw above his head.
I hold out my hand. Sylvia, your call.
I'll walk over. So you guys are saying we should take him to Elysium, right? That was
No.
We
could.
All I care is that he's dead.
Fuck him up, Sylvia!
I'm saying, I was open to take him to Elysium until he just confessed to being Sabat on camera. So
Yeah.
we're good either way now. You can take him if you want, or you can kill him here. Whatever you do is your call.
You know what? 4 years is a really fucking long time to be bloodbound. And I'll kneel down. And I will attempt to drain him.
You smile, baring your fangs, and sink them into his stony flesh.
Wait.
I turn around and start walking out. I'll go make sure everything's okay over there.
Duke just smiles, satisfied,
Interesting architecture.
as he follows Hope out of the room. As Vincent and Derek remain behind, Sylvia sinks her fangs into Patrick's stony flesh. And Sylvia...
I was gonna say,
Yep, Vincent.
fucking take out the steak first. Make him fucking feel it.
He'll feel it.
Yeah.
Alright.
Steaks just paralyze him, man.
Sylvia, you're vaguely aware that Vincent is saying something, but you don't hear it. The moment you sink your fangs in, feel his blood flowing into your mouth, the sweetest thing you've ever tasted. Like the most addictive drug, the most pleasurable sex, 1,000 orgasms, and the greatest mortal you've ever drank, all rolled into one. It's as if you're no longer there. The dingy manager's office fades away. Vincent and Derek disappear. It's just you and Patrick in the void of ecstasy. As you drink, and you drink, and you drink. Reset your hunger to 0, please.
Okay.
Reset your hunger to 0, and then, knowing that he has no more blood left, that he is spent, you keep going. You no longer taste blood, you taste something else. His very essence, all that he ever was and ever will be. And you begin to consume it. You lose 1 point of humanity. Now,
Okay.
I would like you to please roll your humanity plus your blood potency.
You can willpower this.
You can willpower this.
Yeah. Do I know beforehand as the player what the DC needs to be? Or
So you're rolling against his resolve plus blood potency. So his blood potency is 3 and his resolve is 3, so you need at least 6 successes. Well, you need
can
to
I
beat...
rouse for
Well,
this as well? Or
You cannot rouse. You can willpower. Well, you don't need 6 successes. You just need to beat him and his dice pool of 6.
Okay. I will spend a willpower. Oh wait, no, sorry. 5 successes.
5 successes. He rolls 4 successes.
Oh god.
You drink, and you drink, and you drink. There's no sound, no feeling. You're overwhelmed in the experience, and then almost as suddenly as it began, it stops. Your senses return. You're kneeling on the floor of the dingy manager's office. Derek and Vincent stand nearby, watching, their mouths agape. Beneath you, where Father Patrick was, lies a pile of ash. You become 12th generation, and your blood potency increases by 1.
Nice, okay.
So, how did it feel?
You do not have to be so creepy about it, man.
Imagine you're like right next to her ear when you say that.
Meanwhile,
He's,
Hook's down there with Duke. Plausible deniability. Didn't see nothing, not you were.
Yeah, I figure at 0 willpower, Vincent is having the hardest possible time hiding how much interest he takes in this.
Yeah, Vincent, you've never... Diablery's a taboo topic in the Camarilla. You've never heard people talk about it, let alone witness it with your own eyes. As Sylvia rises from her knees, takes one last glance at the pile of ash on the floor, and then silently walks towards the exit of the room. There is something different about her. The way she carries herself, the way she walks, the way she commands her presence across the room. There is more to her now. We will move into the epilogue of this session.
Sure.
As you see Sylvia exit the office, pull the door behind her, a cacophony of fireworks explodes somewhere outside. In the distance, you hear hundreds of voices cheer, "Happy New Year!" The stroke of midnight. Half an hour later, you're in the Melbourne CBD at Crown Complex, in the VIP elevator, riding up to Elysium in the Armitage Lounge, the place where you first met Father Patrick, the place where this all began. The ghoul operating the elevator leans against the buttons. He looks you up and down. Whew. You guys look like you've been through some night.
You could say that.
Covered in blood, muck, dirt, scratches. All save for Sylvia, who commands the attention of everyone else in the elevator. I gotta say, says the ghoul, running his hands through his hair, you sure picked an odd time to show up. Yeah, someone got in without an invite. The masters are at each other's throats. Didn't even pay attention to the countdown. Bing! The elevator lurches to a stop. The doors slide open, and you step out into the Armitage Lounge. It hasn't changed a bit in 4 years. The same gaudy furniture, the same mahogany bar, naked vessel tied blindfolded on the counter behind, kindred gathering around, using his wrist as a tap, filling their glasses with vitae. The back wall is a big glass window that looks down on the cityscape below, the lights that seem to stretch on infinitely. As soon as the doors open, your ears are filled with a cacophony of shouting, excited murmuring, and laughter. Maria Diamante is being restrained by two toreadors. Her face is bright red and her eyes bloodshot. She's clearly barely avoiding frenzy. Opposite her, staring at her with smug looks on their faces, are Jackie, Colin the dog Cisco, and a handful of anarchs, their dishevelled hair and leather jackets at odds with the high class on display here. "How dare you!" shouts Maria. "After all these years, no contact at all, and then you undermine my Elysium? You undermine my New Year's Eve party like a knife in my heart?" Colin, the dog Cisco, shrugs, pulls a party popper. "That's not very nice," he says, shrugging, brushing his hands through the air. We just wanted to wish the cam Happy New Year. Might be the last time after all. The SI on the prowl. Or is our glorious prince on top of that? A murmur spreads through the crowd. For the first time you notice who stands at the back of the room before the great window. Squizzy on his left, scowling as usual, Larson, and on his right, Seneschal Specs, with an oddly amused look on his face. "Watch yourself, Anarch," barks Larson. Jackie looks hurt. "I didn't know simply turning up would have everyone baying for blood. I'm your child, Maria. I used to be the Herald, remember?" She glances at Larson. "You can't be too worried about this being a strictly highbrow affair. I mean, if a brute like Larson has an invite..." Larson scowls and clenches his fist. Squizzy raises a hand, cautioning him. Excited murmurs surge through the crowd, simultaneously mortified and amused. Squizzy steps forwards, his eyes narrowing as he surveys the crowd. Suddenly, there is silence. "Thought I made myself clear 20 years ago. On this very night, if I recall, Melbourne is a city of order, and I will not tolerate dissidents in my domain. I know why you're here tonight. I know your bitch of a Baron has returned, and she's put you up to this. Maybe she thinks old Squizzy's gone soft, that I'll hesitate to enforce the law." He nods at Larson, who takes a step forward, cracking his knuckles. "Larson, go get your sword." Maria Diamante gasps. No, my Jackie!" Squizzy turns to Maria. "What was that? Something to say, my dear Maria? You are the keeper of Elysium. Tonight's mess is as much your embarrassment as it is theirs." Larson returns to the room, clutching a silver broadsword in his right hand. A savage smile paints his face. Maria shouts, "You can't!" Thornton Adams. Yep, go ahead. Hope.
I hold up my phone, pump the volume to maximum, and play Father Patrick's Last Minute at maximum volume.
The voice echoes throughout the room. "I've seen what the Camarilla stand for. We could have fought back." The stunned silence throughout the room seems to grow somewhat thicker. Squizzy raises an eyebrow, and he says,
"Per your orders, we have found, obtained evidence, and disposed of that Sabbat infiltrator." Snap.
"Well," says Squizzy, "that's definitely good news. A pleasant surprise! But that doesn't solve the matter of these anarchs gate crashing.
They're here to bring evidence, showing his machinations and showing who else is involved in his plot. I apologize for any rudeness they brought to this gathering. They really don't know how to fucking behave.
Go ahead, Hope. Please make a charisma persuade check.
So I'm going to be boosting.
Yep.
I'm going to be hungry or what the hell. I don't care at this point. Charisma, persuasion. He's not in the buddy mode. No, he's not.
No, he's not.
Messy critical.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
You just step forwards, and as you walk across the room, all of the kindred silently watch. 50 or 60 or more faces silently judging, watching you, excited to see what happens next. As you place yourself physically between Jackie and Larson.
Honestly, Squiz, I'm going to say, the beast taking hold of me. That bear is probably fucking hoping you're gonna blow up gasket and kill a few of hers here. Well, that's exactly what she wants you to do.
Squizzy bristles, his smile turning into a scowl, and he silently stares at you, and you can tell that he is considering whether or not it's worth dispatching you along with them. He opens his mouth to say something, and then Thornton Adams, the Ventru Primogen, steps forwards from behind the bar. He raises a hand, and he says, "Regardless, my prince, you cannot execute the child of a Primogen, not if the Primogen do not grant you permission." Squizzy bristles, shooting disgusted glances at Hope and Thornton, but then he quickly composes himself. His steely gaze turns to Professor Cypher, looking down on the city below, standing at the edge of the lounge. Cypher raises his face, meeting Squizzy's eyeline. "Last thing we need now is division. This disturbance is embarrassment enough for Maria. And like Hope said, they're simply here to bring evidence that we need at this crucial hour." Squizzy sighs and nods, turns his back to the room, standing in silence for a moment. He clenches his right fist, then unclenches it, then clenches it again. Finally, he turns around, his stony face bristling with barely concealed anger, levels at Jackie. "Consider yourself lucky. Your sire and Hope have vouched for you. Tell Baron Sue if she intends to send any more of her rabble-rousers into my domain, they shall not return. The Camarilla must enforce the traditions, especially now." Jackie stands. Cisco and the other anarchs follow her lead. Jackie bows. "Very well. We can tell we're not wanted, my prince." She leaves, winking at you, Hope, as she passes. The court watches as the anarchs leave, and then almost immediately, the scene is forgotten. The kindred return to their circles, the usual gossip and whispers continue. Specs motions for you, Hope, and the others to join him and Squizzy.
And did Sage hand the tapes to me before she left?
She did not.
Like she said she would.
She did not, but you notice that as Sage leaves, she slips something into your pocket.
Good enough. I'll
As
walk towards
Jackie
Specs.
leaves. Yep. Do you turn around, motion for the others to join you?
Oh yeah.
Everyone else, do you assemble before the prince?
I take point. I figure at this point, the way I'm playing willpowerless Vince is that the only things
he's
he can
gonna
do
wanna-
is that serve his ego or his base instincts.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
As you,
Cockiest possible Vincent.
as you assemble before him, as Vincent bows and says, "My prince," in his most fake schmoozing voice, Squizzy looks at you all irritated. He says, "You'd better have a damn good reason for turning up at this hour and undermining my authority like that." Specs smiles, perhaps knowingly. And as you say this, Vincent, he says, "Oh, my prince, it's obvious they've been very busy tonight."
Hope, would you mind?
Not at all. I pull out the tape. We'll need to play this.
Specs says,
I'm sorry for this display. You've got bigger problems.
Specs reaches out to take the thumb drive from your hand. He snatches it.
All right.
And then he says, "Right, come, my prince. And you others, follow me. And just so all bases are covered, let's bring the Primogen as well." And then he leads the rest of you away from the lounge, away from the gossiping kindred, into a side room. Hope, Derek, and Sylvia, you recognize the room that you're led to. The leather upholstered couches forming a U shape around a coffee table with a big projector screen on the wall. This is where you were given your briefing for Father Patrick's mission all those nights ago. A few minutes later, the last bit of footage stops playing. All who are assembled exchange glances with each other. Specs smiles. Very interesting, neonates. It's obvious that one of them is Father Patrick. The other in the footage could be Palmer. Definitely a Ventru. It's hard to tell with the image corruption. Likely a manifestation of the La Sombra curse. Squizzy nods at Larson. "Bring Elliot Palmer to me. Let's see how he talks his way out of this." As Larson strides forward... yeah, of course, Vincent's like, finally, glances at Sylvia, a knowing glance. You're both finally putting your sires in their place tonight. As Larson strides forwards, Thornton Adams steps in front of him, a cold look on his face. Larson looks him up and down. Thornton scoffs and he says, "I'll not have a member of my clan subjected to unfounded accusations. That could be anyone in the footage." Squizzy shrugs. "That's so, Thornton? Definitely not one of yours, right?" Still blocking Larson, Thornton meets Squizzy's eyes. "Let's not forget where this footage comes from. It's probably some anarch fledgling fresh off the streets. All it proves is that Patrick was working with someone." Squizzy raises his voice. "Palmer was the one who brought him into the fold." Thornton shrugs noncommittally. "And you were the one who let him remain in our court for 4 years, my prince. The Sombra have become a common sight in Elysiums around the world ever since the Chicago Accord. Most of them are not so but infiltrators." He gestures at Sylvia. "For example, Sylvia, you hold nothing but utmost loyalty and respect for the prince and his praxis, am I correct?"
Yep.
Sylvia just non-committally shrugs.
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Thornton steps aside, allowing Larson to move past. Larson reaches the door leading out into the lounge, and then he stops. He glances over his shoulder at the prince, waiting for orders. Squizzy frowns. "What about this benefactor they're speaking of? What do you have to say about that?" His face contorts with rage as he stares down Thornton, his eyes growing bloodshot. I know you've been going behind my back, Thornton, ever since you reached out to that bitch in Adelaide. Unfortunately for you, Vincent here screwed the pooch on that one.
You shut...
You're about to retaliate to the prince, Vincent, and then you stop yourself mid-sentence. Both Thornton and the prince glance at you, and they nod, seeing you've made a wise decision. Thornton sinks into a nearby armchair, letting out a dramatic sigh. What reason would I have to move against you, my prince? I wouldn't even be on the Primogen Council were it not for your intervention. Squizzy shrugs.
Some direct evidence about them working together, by the way?
You
No.
think you don't, actually, because he's arguing that the person you think is your sire in that footage could be anyone, and he's not been mentioned by name so far. But you, Vincent, you have heard, you know that Thornton and your sire are definitely doing something shifty. You've heard them making moves in Elysium, not to mention the fact that someone tried to frame you for attacking Isabella this very night. So it's up to you if you'd like to bring anything to light here.
Yeah, alright.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not going to be able to hold myself back too much at this point. I pipe up, and I'm like, any ideas as to who might have given Palmer the idea to frame me for going after some new vampire?
A thin blood, no less.
Thin blood. No, yeah, my words are in my brain.
It's all good.
Thornton's about to say something, but your words cut him off, and as they sit on the air lingering, Maria Diamante gasps, "Oh my gosh! Thornton, you can't have..." I would like you, Vincent, to please go ahead and make a charisma and either persuasion or etiquette check. Remember, you are currently impaired, so you are going to be doing it with a penalty dice.
So that's just one die down?
Yep, just one die down.
It's still 6. 2 successes.
2 successes. Thornton gets 3. He brushes his hand in the air. And he says, "Well, you've brought us evidence of a Sabat infiltrator tonight, have you not? Someone who was working against the prince, someone who knew that you were after him specifically. It doesn't take a genius. It was Patrick who tried to frame you. Why would I or your sire ever wish to do something like that over an anarch thin blood, no less?"
Did Patrick know that I specifically was after him?
He may or he may have not. You don't, in fact, as Squizzy sort of ordered you to distance yourself from the coterie, it's likely that Patrick would not have been aware that you specifically were after him.
I'll turn around. I'll turn around and I'll tell a blatant lie. Hey Vince, didn't the Thin Blood get the assassin after her? He's with the Anarchs now, so I'm sure anything he'll spill an interrogation. We'll find out eventually. Pat his shoulder.
Sounds right to me.
Go ahead, make a charisma subterfuge or performance acting check, Hope.
Can I add to that?
You can add to that. You can make a performance acting or a charisma subterfuge check of your own.
Oh, some of the penalty, yeah?
Yep.
Yes, he critical.
If you have presence, if you have or, you may add your presence dice.
Okay, so even with the penalty, that's 7 successes as well.
Yeah.
Why is it always a messy critical?
Messy critical for Hope. Hope is hungry. So Hope, you say this blatant lie, perhaps in a more cocky voice than you should, and then you walk right up to Thornton Adams, stand in front of him as he lounges in the chair, look him in the eyes, and you say, what do you say to that, punk? Huh?
If there's no ties, you're free to go, buddy. How well did you program your little set?
He just looks up at you, completely astounded. In the background, leaning against the wall and clutching a wine glass of blood, Professor Cypher scoffs. I agree, he laughs. Your ambitions have not been subtle, Thornton, not to those of us who pay attention. Palmer or not, it's obvious that man in the footage is one of yours. Thornton bristles, scowls, grits his teeth. He looks up at Hope and then at Professor Cypher and then at Squizzy. And then he says, then what does it matter to you if it is then? It doesn't affect you or the Chantry. Cypher smiles. On the contrary, someone seeks to disrupt the status quo, and that someone is working with the Sabbat. If they succeed, it would not be agreeable for the Chantry. Thornton growls, clenching his fist. So much for the Primogen looking out for each other. You're going to allow these neonates to sway you against the Ventru Primogen who for all these years has... He loses his chain of thought and exchanges a glance with Maria, seated on the sofa opposite. It's obvious he's silently cashing in a boon. Maria stands and clears her throat. I agree with Thornton, darlings. Without more damning evidence, we have no way to know for sure. All we have is grainy footage and hearsay. Squizzy's gaze passes over the three Primogen. It's a look of barely concealed disgust. He shakes his head to Larson. Fine. Palmer is vouched for now. Then he glances at Thornton, narrows his eyes, and says, but you're on thin ice, Thornton. You and all your Ventru. As soon as I get the first whiff that something is wrong, he smiles, turns to Vincent and laughs. As soon as I get the first whiff that the Ventru are doing anything that I suspect they've been trying to do behind my back this whole time, let us say that, well, Vincent here will be joining the number of us among us who have committed diablerie. And he smiles coldly at you. Wouldn't you like that very much, Vincent? Everyone else in the room is utterly silent.
Hope turns away, and on her face there's a pure look of disgust.
The infiltrator is gone, says Squizzy. He claps his hands together. One down, more to go. He moves his gaze across everyone in the room. The Primogen stunned to silence, even Larson just staring back at him, a look of utter awe and shock on his face. Standing behind him, you can't help but notice Specs, giving off the slightest smirk of amusement. This is my city. Melbourne is my domain, and I will brook no pretenders, whether they be from without the Camarilla or within. Is it understood?
Understood,
Understood very well.
Things are going to change. There are enemies among us, that much is clear. And from now on, if you're not with me, you're against me. This year will be the year that I clean house, and only the loyal shall remain. Consider that to be my New Year's resolution. Happy fucking New Year. Squizzy smiles, letting his words linger, letting his threats make their full impact. And we end the session there.
Okay.
That is the end of Auld Sanguine, the story of the new year. 2020 is over, 2021 begins. A new year, and yet, for the kindred, life, unlife continues as normal. Father Patrick has been dealt with, his plans put to rest. But there are others out there. Thornton Adams and his Ventru remain safe, out of the prince's grasp for now. And there are other infiltrators, other members of the Sabbat, just like Father Patrick, waiting to make their move. It is a new year, but the same old conflict continues. And as Elysium winds down, as dawn approaches, and you eventually feel the pull of exhaustion and daylight, as the day sleep calls to you, you wonder if you've even accomplished anything at all. You each gain 3 experience points, and between now and the next session there will be a 3-month downtime. The next session will pick up in March of 2021, and we will return for the next episode entitled Blood May Boil.
And
Right.
I've got a roll to make, don't I?
Yes, you do. You have a remorse check to make. So let's go ahead and make
I roll
that.
these one at a time. I've got 2 dice to roll here.
I feel like at this point, Vince is sort of experiencing like a newfound respect and even awe at Sylvia.
Oh, shucks.
Succeeded.
Oh, I
Trust
would
me, it
like to
is
say.
deeply perverse.
Yep.
Oh, yes. As Elysium winds down and everyone starts heading back home, eventually walking past the Yarrow, crossing over Prince's Bridge, I will take the necklace with the cross that's been hanging around my neck the whole time and rip it off, and I'll just hold it in my hand for a second and look out at the river, and I'll raise my hand to throw it, but as I do, something hesitates. And I'll glance at it again and drop it back into my pocket, and then head back home.
As you walk into the darkness, the words of your late sire linger in your mind. I've seen what the Camarilla stands for, he says. It's up to us to fight back, to steal control of our destinies away from the ancient damned. You wonder what he meant by those words. You wonder if there was any meaning at all. Were they just the deranged ramblings of a cornered, terrified coward? Or is there something out there? Something in the darkness, beyond the many twisted layers of intrigue and politics, is everything that happens here in the domain of Melbourne just part of of some unknowable plan. Is free will but an illusion? How did you do on your remorse check, Hope?
I made it.
You made it. Okay, wipe away the stains. You remain at Humanity 7.
Little bit of story.
Yep.
Hope stumbles back to her haven, and after dragging herself down the stairs, she goes to her bedroom, where there's a very nice canopy bed surrounded by a creepy shrine that's full of pictures and like fragments of clothing and little personal effects, like a tossed away sandwich wrapper, at one point Bernard II's leather jacket. It's all arranged neatly around the bed. And for just a second, she goes and picks up the fire axe and raises it up above this little display. Then she lowers it and looks at every token, every one a memento of somebody whose life she's improved. She raises the axe again, puts it down, and sits in the middle of the bed and sobs bloody tears.
Yeah. She's been through some shit tonight. I think we all have. That was The Ball Drops, episode 13 of Vampire War for the Second City, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition actual play podcast presented by DM Fiat. With me, Dale, as storyteller, Lost Demiurge as Hope, H. Quen as Sylvia, Paradox Mimic as Derek, and Ash as Vincent Merriweather. Music was created by Kevin MacLeod and is used with permission. Vampire the Masquerade and the World of Darkness are the registered trademarks and property of White Wolf Entertainment and Paradox Game Studios.